Welcome back to Nerd Rage episode. This is episode 214, and this is take 3 because I had an issue, and then our guest had an issue, which we will get to here in a second, our special guest. But for today, we do have one usual suspect. Joe, Uncle Dolphin, how are you today?
What up?
All right. And then we have a guest that longtime Nerd Rage listeners will remember. He used to do a segment. But then he became obsessed with doing stuff like talking on his phone or checking his text messages during the show, whatever, stuff like that, regular stuff.
I thought it was destroying the kitchen.
That too. We have Angry Gary here with us as well.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
My pleasure.
So, did you figure out how the volume knobs work? Because
I did. I misunderstood the first direction out of the gate. I thought this whole thing was mine. I could play, so I was just playing. I'm like, wow, I got a lot of buttons.
So we're going to get into Nerd Week. So I'm going to let Joe go first. I'm going to save Gary for last. And I want to talk to Gary about a couple things, including an argument that he got into with his kid at the grocery store and a repeating cycle of how we treat our kids in relationship to how our parents treated us, briefly. So, Joe, how was your Nerd Week?
Not bad. I actually did stuff this week instead of like last week. I watched season 2 of Disenchanted on Netflix.
How was that?
Pretty good. Ends on a cliffhanger again. It's 10 episodes. We finished it in like 2 days. It's the Simpsons show. I mean, the show
the Matt Groening.
Yeah. And it's like set into like a medieval magic-y setting.
Is it good?
I enjoyed it.
Funny?
Hit or miss. I wouldn't recommend you waste your time on it, Bobby. But I enjoy childish things.
I like The Simpsons.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you watch The Simpsons anymore, though?
No, I don't have TV anymore.
All right, I don't have TV anymore. Because like when you say you like something from the past and you don't do it anymore.
I would watch it. If I had cable, it would be the one thing I watch.
Okay.
With that and family, that Sunday night lineup, whatever it was. I don't even know if it's the same.
But I enjoy binging. I like watching the whole thing, and now...
Gary, we haven't got your opinion on that. Shows nowadays, there's 2 types, right? There's Netflix all drop at once, binge shows, and then there's still appointment television where it comes on at a certain time once a week. What do you prefer?
Binging.
So
Just go ahead.
I used to. But then I started watching a few shows that have been making me wait a week, and I realized I miss it. It's given me the chance to miss it. I do agree with Joe that sometimes I have a hard time remembering all of the components. I'm definitely there. But I do like talking about it with people, like for the course of the week. Everybody's on the same page. You know, like it's not one person's at episode 10 and one person's at episode 3, and you got to tiptoe around the fucking subject. You know what I mean?
See, that's the difference. You like talking to people. I don't. That's maybe the difference.
I do like talking to people. I'm what they call a social butterfly, Joe.
Yes, that you are.
But you don't. But you're done with it.
It's not. It's just because I'm usually behind. So people have caught the wave of whatever the show is, and then I'm always like, oh, people have said that was good, and then I'll just go. I'm usually like 3 seasons behind by the time I watch something.
You're never on the wave.
Yeah. No, I'm always like swimming, like waiting for a life, like a life raft or something like that. So I'll sometimes I'll binge to catch up, and then try to be like, hey, I'm with you guys.
Do you find yourself bringing it up and everybody's passing?
Yeah. Like, that's fucking yesterday's news, whatever. But I'm like, well, let's talk about it. I'm like, no, we don't want to. But
that reminds me of something else I want to bring up with you when we get into You Heavy.
But I mean, it's the same experience with me. It's like recently I started getting into a few of my anime shows that I have to catch week to week, which I haven't had an experience in a while of catching stuff week to week, and I'm finding that I hate it. So. But the reason I have to keep up is because some of them are so popular that I'll get spoiled. Just scrolling through my Facebook, just the memes itself will spoil what's going to happen. So I have to watch this stuff to stay ahead of the spoilers because I fucking can't stand a spoiler.
Right.
So with that said, Demon Slayer season finale, I caught up yesterday. They announced a follow-up movie, but I hope there'll be another season though. I hope it doesn't end there.
Straight to video, or is there somebody carrying it licensed?
Licensed. It's the same company. Like at the end of the episode, they're like project greenlit for the following arc as a OVA, which is a movie, which will probably get limited releases here and in the theaters and then on streaming.
Do you remember, speaking of greenlit, that show that was on HBO, Project Greenlight?
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
It was a cool concept.
Well, yeah, get people's ideas and then
Make
bring
money
to
off of
fruition.
it.
Yeah, brilliant.
But like Shark Tank,
Stiff arm out of the way to take this shit.
Like what you did was like they had like this contest and you sent in your idea and then they chose a winner and then you got to make a movie. They do a 10 episode series behind the scenes of you making it and then they have the movie premiere. And it was a cool. I think it was a cool concept. They did. I think only one.
Did it not work out well?
I don't think so. I have it. It's like some stupid fucking like green summer.
They couldn't even like lose the first name. Like, we get it. It's greenlit. You change the title a little bit.
It wasn't good, but it was interesting. It was an interesting dynamic.
It's good for an opportunity. I mean, if it's a legit opportunity.
I don't know if Homeboy ever popped off though. I don't know if it was his.
Well, you got to wonder. Like, did the guy come or girl come with the idea, and then like, that's a great idea, but let's start changing this and
everything
doing
about
that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Tinseltown, baby.
Yeah, right.
I feel like that'll be the norm. Like someone buys the idea and then change everything about it.
Yeah.
So like the artist is fucking pissed,
Yeah.
or they'll be like, "We hate this idea," and then fucking just knock it off.
Yeah, it does irritate me because I feel 50-50 on it. Like sometimes I feel like there are people that know best. There are people like like Batman in the hands of Nolan. If I would have looked at some of that on paper, I probably would have been like, no, don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
You do this. But he did know best. He did know best. But then there's more often than not, I feel like they do not know best. Where Hollywood gets a hold of something and then they're like, no, we're the experts on making movies. We understand that you had a very successful idea prior to, but now you're in my neck of the woods, baby. And then they make something terrible.
I think that's not usually like a different artist having the input. It's like a board of directors or some shit having the businessmen.
Yeah.
That ruins shit.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the director coming along and be like, I'm gonna change the script because the writer doesn't know what they're doing.
Right,
I think that
right.
happens to a lot of people when they bring their books to a movie where the person who wrote the novel is like, you're going to do what? You know what I mean? Or change the character to what? Why?
Yeah.
You know?
Stephen King comes to mind.
Like, his movies are the worst.
But his books are great.
Are they really though? They look like a dictionary. I can't even like pick one of those. Like, I look at his books and I just get mad at that guy. I'm like, how many fucking words do you need, dude? You know what I mean? I mean, we get it, right? You know a lot of words, man. I mean, I read like he'll do a chapter on a coffee table. Like, dude, all right, there's a fucking crazy coffee table, dude. I know. Get to the scary shit.
You know who's worse is Anne Rice.
Okay.
I've tried to read. There was a time where Adam was super into those the vampire.
I read one of her books.
Okay, so I tried to read it, and he told me which one to start with. I can't remember which one it was now.
Vampire Lestat.
That was the one I read.
Yes, maybe.
I thought it was great.
So I picked it
Queen
up.
of the Dam was not great.
No. Okay. No.
I'll tell you what.
And the movie was even worse.
Oh my god! But can we agree that Aaliyah was a sexy vampire?
Oh fuck yeah.
Who?
Aaliyah, the queen.
Oh, yeah. She was a sex. She'd be
But
a
her
sexy
acting
fucking
was-
insect if they made her do that. I mean, Jesus.
But I will say that like there is something about her, because she used to wear like like if you like think about her like swag at the time, like it was like always like the sports bra with like sweatpants or something
crazy.
Yeah, but this was a step above what she normally brought to the table in regards to her sexuality.
That
I feel
movie,
like.
you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, like
but
the Princess Leia bikini of the time.
I mean, she was past R. Kelly's window of
Yeah, but
opportunity.
he definitely left a dent though, so she was, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? There was definitely some dings in that, so, and I don't mean that, I just meant she was.
He'll be stressed out about that all the way home. He'll be like, "Hey man, you think you want to take the R. Kelly line out?"
Too late. We post directly
I
after.
bet that she had some baggage coming into that. There definitely needed to be some intervention.
But I remember reading The Vampire Lestat, and there was like a whole like page and a half that was talking about this blade of grass, and I was like, I get it. They see in detail. You know what I mean? They're picking up on details that we don't pick up on. But like, I'm the type of guy where you could just say that. You could just say vampires are known for picking up on details that other people don't. For instance, the molecules in a blade of grass. Like, got it, understood.
But I mean, that separates a artsy writer.
No, I
versus,
understand.
like,
I understand. But
And that was always a big deal with her, like the vampire eyes changing over and seeing, when they open up. And I think,
but there's also an art to pacing. Like there's got to be something to be accounted for there.
We've had a discussion.
Yeah.
You're really picky about pacing.
I am.
but that was when when I read it and then I saw the movie, because I read Lestat before Interview came out.
Yeah.
Or no, it might have been after Interview came out, but
because I think that's what got some people into her shit.
Yeah, but I think I saw the movie and then I read it, so it was easy to picture some of the characters in my head after seeing the movie. I like origin stories, so Lestat was a great way to start because he was it was how he started, and I was more interested in his character anyway because I thought fucking Louis was just mind-blowingly boring, and it's like, oh god, even when Tom Cruise was like, oh, he's whining, I was like, I know, Jesus, just fucking bite the chick, man, shit.
The soundtrack for Lestat was tough though.
Yeah, well, the Guns N' Roses' "Sympathy for the Devil" was fucking great.
And Korn did a whole lot of it, and the song that Korn wrote, because I think he wrote most of it, if not all of it, that Orgy performed, I think is one of my favorites. It's like,
I don't remember that. I liked the movie. I liked it.
It had like almost like a bounce drum to it.
Okay,
I can't remember that.
I didn't hate Interview. I
enjoyed it.
What's that?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Interview's solid.
Yeah.
The Queen of the Damned is not solid.
No, but
the soundtrack is
from
solid.
what I understand, she was really pissed off that Tom Cruise played Lestat because she was very big on 6 foot being these
The lanky,
the lanky, whatever. But he's a type, he kind of, I thought he did a really good job.
His acting was really good.
He was good.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He's great, and then. But
but
it shows you up that-
Scientology focus he brings.
Yeah, because he has no allegiance to anything. You know what I mean? Like he can morph into whatever he wants to. It seems like, but
It threw me off because I watched the Interview and then Queen of the Damned Lestat is a completely different guy. It's not Tom Cruise.
Correct.
right.
And it doesn't even seem like the same character.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a different person with the same name.
Yeah.
We'll say that again. I mean,
Like not only is it a different actor that plays him, it seems like a totally different character than what's in Interview. You know what I mean? And
Like
Queen
they
of the
act
Damned,
completely differently.
yeah.
They, like the behavior, they're
the rock band, and the whole.
Yeah, well, that's and that's kind of from like I said, I only read Lestat. So, but from what I understand, when he went underground and just laid there, he was underneath, able to hear this rock band practicing and whatever. And it kind of makes sense that because he was a performer in Lestat, like he was traveling with this road show acting club, and that's where that vampire saw him.
It's kind of weird.
And mocked him or whatever. So he was this like he was supposed to be like this really good looking guy, whatever, that this vampire saw and just like fell for him and then grabbed him and snatched him up. And he mentions it in interviews, like, I'm going to give you something I didn't have.
Right.
A
choice.
And that was his choice or whatever. And then but there was one story in there that. When he killed the wolves, do you remember that in Lestat? When he went out hunting for the wolves? Yeah, me too. But that was one story when he went out hunting for the wolves, and that's where he really caught this vampire's eye. That there was some kind of family in France that was well off or whatever. I don't know the technical term or whatever, but they had this wolf problem that was killing their livestock or whatever, and he decided to go out and take care of it. And he ends up in this like sick battle with this whole pack of wolves and kills them, but almost dies. And that's where he caught, and then this thing just started following him, and he had no idea. And then he left the house, and he caught on with this traveling acting club or whatever, and then
took on tour.
Well, you kind of, I guess however they did it back then or whatever, and then the thing just snatched him up and just made, and then it died. So he had no
guidance,
and I guess in that story, like the type of the strength of the vampire that turns you inherit a lot of their strength. So he was like super strong and super naive and just didn't know what to do. So
the other thing that I remember, just to stay on this soundtrack for just a second, that Orgy song. Orgy was supposed to be going on tour with Marilyn Manson, and I'll never forget this. It was like an MTV behind the tour or behind the rock star or whatever, like hour special, and they were following Manson, and they're in this strip club. They're getting ready to go on tour with Orgy in like a month, right? They're in this strip club, and Twiggy is like throwing money at this girl, like super into it. And Blue Monday remake by Orgy is playing over the speakers. And Twiggy's like, "What band is this?" And she's like, "Orgy." And he's like, "This band Orgy sucks." They got like kicked off the tour.
Holy shit, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, continue, Joe.
watched La Llorona. I think that's how you pronounce it. LL. LL is Y, right, in Spanish?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's a horror movie about ghost that snatches kids, but yeah, I have no attachment to kids, so
Sure.
it was all right. Wasn't bad for what it is.
Fair.
But like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I feel like he would feel my vibes on this. Do you ever find yourself rooting against protagonists because they're fucking dumb shits? Where like, I hope they get got.
Define protagonist for me.
The hero.
The hero.
Well, not
Okay, so the
necessarily-
antagonist is the bad guy.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm gonna have to dummy the show down a little bit if you want me to keep up. All right, I've already fucked up the buttons. So. Yes, I always root against the protagonist, man.
Yes.
Of course I do. All right.
don't do
Fuck
that,
that
dumb
guy.
fuck. Yeah.
Because they're always like, like they always see things so clearly, and it's like, dude, it's not so fucking black and white for me. You know what I mean?
Which is funny because I feel like you often in your arguments try to eliminate shades of gray.
True. Maybe, and this is maybe why I hate myself.
I feel you. I feel you there. That's good.
So go ahead. So I didn't.
No, but that was. I mean, I was watching this movie. And
Give me an example. Like, give me a protagonist, and I'll tell you if I hate him immediately.
Well-
and I'll tell you why if you want to know.
We'll stay off of Star Wars.
Well, see, that's where my brain went first. I was like, Luke
Right.
Skywalker.
Yeah, hate him. You know,
Han Solo.
love him.
See, yeah, me too. I'm cut of a similar cloth in that regard. Where as a kid growing up, I didn't care for Luke one bit, and I loved Han Solo. I wanted to be Han Solo.
Anyone who wanted to be cool loved Han Solo. I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, how the fuck do you steal a chick from a Jedi? All right, before they knew they were brother and sister, you know, when she's like, I don't care that you can do cool shit. This guy's fucking don't give a fuck.
I don't care how many fucking mind tricks you
Yeah,
got.
yeah,
You know what you don't got? Swag.
Right. He wears his gun down by his fucking knee. Like, that's fucking awesome, man. Because that's exactly where it should be. Who the fuck wants to reach all the way up to the hip to grab that shit?
true.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
He wears his gun at his fucking knee because it's easier to kill people with. I don't need a fucking lightsaber. My gun's right here.
And as a result, it's cool because like the belt is like lazy, like the
Yeah.
belt. But he's like, fuck, I'll just have two belts. I have one that goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he just rolled out of bed or whatever the fuck they had. He's like, one day, he's like, that's easier. I mean, I can get out of bed and shoot somebody, right? I mean, fucking awesome. Just,
He was sitting there on this chair when he just shot some guy on the table.
right,
Yeah.
and before they changed that shit, right? I mean, so and it was right where it needed to be because you would see that fucking elbow. Guido was a fucking hitman. Like he would have seen that shit. Like elbows up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
He's just fucking unbuttoning. He's like just standing there, like he's just scratching an itch on his fucking leg. you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And then
he's awesome.
you know what it is though? It's the coin toss.
Yeah, when
Sorry,
he's leaving.
Sorry about the mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good
Sorry
stuff.
about the mess, man.
Yeah.
That was much cooler than what Obi-Wan did like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Where he like cut some dude's arm off.
Yeah.
And like there was gorier and everything, but it was nowhere near as cool.
Nowhere near as cool.
He had no
Yeah.
swag.
Yeah,
right,
no swag.
Because simple sometimes is just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, and he brought that to, Indiana Jones when the guy had that sword and he's staring at him for 30 seconds and just shoots him. You know what I mean?
There's some story to that. There's some story to that.
Because he was sick and
Yeah,
he couldn't fight.
He was supposed to fight him,
Yes.
but he was sick that day, so he just did the gun thing. But now it's like a classic.
And
it's like the greatest moment in that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the act.
That and that dude getting cut up with the propeller.
Yeah,
The
big dude.
You're like covered up. It's like, oh shit. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Go ahead.
So no, I just enjoyed the solo thing. I wanted to hear where we were going.
Well, we were talking about we talked about Raiders of the Lost Ark like last year, and it was the first time I'd watched it in a long time. And what's funny is I don't have a very clear memory of all like the face melting stuff, and I think it's because my dad probably turned it off. Like when I was a kid, when I was watching it, it probably
Right,
got
at
to
the
that and was like, all right, we're done with this one for the day and whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like
You didn't know any better?
and I didn't know any better. It was cool enough just getting to like the airplane scene, and I was
Right.
like, great,
Yeah.
perfect movie.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It-
Oh God.
Luke is done. Are we done with Luke?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. Well, I think that Luke is an antagonist. So like this is one of the conversations I get in when I get on my soapbox about Luke Skywalker is that like Luke irritates me from the beginning until Last Jedi, and then that's when I love Luke because I love the trick element of it. I'm so far beyond what you're even capable of imagining that I'll fool the entire world. Like that shit means a lot to me. Where he because like I feel like having these conversations about Star Wars and you start getting into like especially like the prequel era of the Jedi and like all of the philosophical follies, where you're like this is beyond right and wrong. Like you guys think you're in control of everything, like and then Luke actually sees it, I feel like, through our eyes, where he's the one that's like, yeah, they were wrong. They thought they were fucking right. And in turn, they just did the worst possible thing they could have, which was take 3 average Jedi to go fight Palpatine. And then,
No, they were the best.
Yeah. Three, I need 3 of my best guys.
Right.
Oh, we don't have any of the best guys. Any 3 guys will do.
You got a lightsaber? Yeah, all right, let's go.
Join the party. Yeah, little tentacle head. I want you.
Yeah, and they always had to look like the dorkiest motherfucking, like, look at that thing. Like,
Diversity, bro.
yeah, like, oh my God.
Yeah. So, like, but, that he sees all that for kind of what it is and is able to kind of follow more so the Jedi teaching of this, like, very, like, non-violent, passive, when push pull, then when pull push type of thing, and then beats everybody, saves the day, is the ultimate win, and doesn't fucking throw a fist. That to me is like the ultimate goal,
And that's what you feel he did in the last one.
yeah,
Versus raise an army and then go.
yeah. Versus
fight.
raising an army, chopping people's heads off, and all that. He beat everybody and didn't throw a fist. Like that to me is like that's the kind of shit that Yoda was trying to push him towards on an Empire almost the whole time. Like luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Like that sort of understanding that, it's nothing is too big. Look at me, judge me by my size. Like all those things kind of play into that sort of, winning without sacrifice almost. In a way, I think that he ended up making a choice to sacrifice himself, but I personally am not of the belief that killed him. It was just like there's no topping this. Like they don't make a weight heavier than this for me to lift, so I'm just going to go on to the next level.
Peace out.
Yeah.
And that's, I hate to, like, I don't remember the movie that much, and that's what drives me nuts about the last Star Wars cycle, the last group that came out. It didn't stick in my head. Like you're talking about a lot of stuff that I just don't recall. You know what I mean? And that's what drives me nuts. Like I seen Empire Strikes Back once, when I was, I don't know. I remember. I was like,
You've seen Empire once?
No. When I did see it once,
yeah.
and I could tell you that movie starts. Plus, my mind was a lot sharper. I was 9 or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I was dented by life by then. But I remember when Vader was like, come with me and we could, and I was like, do it.
What are you, an idiot?
Yeah, like, what are you, nuts?
He's gonna chop your arm off.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, look at this fucking guy. That's my dad. Like, yeah, fuck you, Yoda. Now I see why you're trying to hide me from this fucking guy, because he's awesome. And I totally believe Vader would have been like, yeah, we're gonna fix shit now. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, let's go get fucking Palpatine right now. Fucking now. Vader would have he could have fixed Vader by joining him rather than killing him in fucking Empire. But like, let's fucking, Vader would have teach him some serious fucking shit. Like really kick ass fucking, listen, this is how you fuck up everybody. You know what I mean? And you have the body. You're not stuck in a suit. You know what I mean?
No arms and no legs.
Yeah, right. Like, listen, we'll let that fucking X-Wing shit, let that slide. That was awesome. Good move. But, now you're with me, and we're going to show you how to do this shit.
Yeah.
So that's how I always felt with, but that's the beauty of those movies, because you can always play out a different ending in your mind. Like, well, if he didn't do this might have happened,
And like, I hate to say this, but I think that like Lucas is somewhat of a like sloppy enough filmmaker. You know what I mean? Where it allows it allows for people to have these discussions as to what does this mean, how did this go, what happened here, like
human element, like
yeah,
really...
yeah. Like I always get into this conversation of Sidious versus Mace. You know, when they fight in episode 3, and to me, Sidious throws that fight. Like Sidious feels that Anakin is going to come in, and he throws the fight so that Anakin comes in, sees this helpless, defenseless man on the ground with this powerful Jedi standing over him, getting ready to strike him down, and is like, "Oh, these are monsters. I'm following monsters." And this poor old man who's been nothing but kind to me this entire time is going to be struck down by this fucking dickhead who's going to let me sit on the fucking council and not be a master?
Who has been treating me like shit since
Correct.
I fucking got here,
Correct.
by the way.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Holding me the fuck back.
Yeah. So like, you know, like, but it's because the movie isn't kind of like, this is me being objective, right? Me taking myself out of it. It's because it's not really explained well that I'm able to have that difference in opinion, which there's a beauty to, you know, like, but if he came in and he was like, and Sidious was like, don't look at me, like this didn't go the way I thought it would go. then it's like, okay, well, it's clear that he didn't want this to go this way, that he feels terrible about it, or whatever the case may be. But because it's not explained, it's left open to interpretation, you know, and I dig that about Star Wars a lot. Anyway. Okay.
Buy that.
Yeah. Continue, Joe.
This is Nerd Week.
This is how it goes.
Nerd Week.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, I just wanted these kids to drown.
What'd you say?
I just wanted these kids to drown.
In this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, the kids were doing some dumb shit. I'm like, well, I hope you drown.
That'll teach you.
Because the ghost lady liked to drown kids, man, and this girl keeps going to the pool. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. So the ghost's one fucking move is water, and you keep going. I wouldn't even have a glass of it. Like, you know what?
I wouldn't even have a glass of it.
How's the desert looking these days?
And then I'm watching the movie A Cure for Wellness. I'm not sure if you guys seen it. Pretty interesting.
I heard of it.
I think it's classified as horror, but I think it's more suspense. Mm-hmm. So this guy goes, it's like a super high ranked financial district guy, business, like Wall Street guy. Mm-hmm. And one of the board members went missing at a resort in Switzerland. It's supposed to be like for health benefits or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like the company's falling apart. So the rest of the board members send this guy to go get him. He said, you want a promotion? You got to go get him, make him come back and sign some papers. So he goes, and then mystery ensues. Like nobody wants to leave, nobody ever leaves. And then like when he was leaving, like a deer hit his car, and then he got in a wreck, and then he woke up in this health facility, and like he couldn't leave, and like they're convincing him that he's sick. And then it's a big mystery to the whole story.
And it was good.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story element because
who's
like,
in it? Anybody?
Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man. Who was also Valerian.
Oh, the kid.
Yeah. Also
right.
Valerian from Valerian of City of Doubt.
Oh yeah. I think he's a good actor. That kid.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He looks like a office worker.
Right.
He acts like a privileged office worker.
Right. Yeah. I think he's good. I think that kid is good. I'm trying to think if I finished my Dinobot drawing I showed you upstairs.
I fucking love the colors.
It came through nice, I think.
Fan stores need to get a repaint of that going on. hit up your contacts there. You work for them, don't you?
Yeah. I'll just send an email up the chain.
As Pinkerton would say.
I have a preference for a certain company, so people think that I am a shill for them, when actually they won't even return my emails. They don't have anything to do with me.
You legitimately like what they do.
I just legitimately like what they do.
People insist that they give them free toys and pay him to say that this stuff is good.
I wish.
Right.
Like, you know.
Please.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll be listening. And be like,
no, they're not going to. They're done with me. But... So I did that.
Bobby talks too much shit. That's why.
Yeah, I did watch Empire. I watched Empire this week. My wife, to catch you up real quick,
was Juicy Sommelier on it?
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay.
So like,
was Dog Juicy on it?
Oh God, we talked about that a bit yesterday. Or 2 days ago, whatever it was. The day that we watched it, a couple months ago, my wife said, look, before 9 comes out, I really want to watch them in order because I get the timelines fucked up in my head, you know, because she's seen them. She saw 4, 5, 6, and then she saw 1, 2, 3, and then she saw 7, and then she saw Rogue One, and then she saw 8, and then she saw Solo, and then in between that, she's seen them all. So like it all kind of exists in this medley at one time for her.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel her pain on that.
Yeah, so like we've been going through and watching them one a weekend. And with the kids, and we do pizza, and now like the baby's even like Star Wars and pizza, you know, and it's great. So this week we finally got into Empire, and we watched that. It's still fantastic. It's still, and what's funny to me, and I've said this before, but like when I was a kid, Empire was my least favorite when I was a child, and I just wanted to watch the Hoth scene, the AT-ATs, Vader walking through the snow base. And then I wanted to turn the movie off. I was done with it. As an adult, it's the part of the movie I want to get through immediately. Like I'm like, come on, let's get off of this fucking thing so we can get rolling. Because the moment they end up in Lando's house is when it kicks off. You know,
Fucked up his house, man.
But that's when that shit kicks into high gear for me. So it's just interesting how that dynamic has changed. You know, there's a lot of things that way. Like when I was a kid, I loved like the Death Star battle, you know, from the first Star Wars. As an adult, I just want to kind of do the cantina over and over and over again. Like, and I can kind of skip the rest. Jedi, I used to love Jabba's palace when I was a kid, and then was kind of lost interest in the rest. As an adult, I just want to be on the Death Star with Luke and Palpatine and Vader, and I'm good.
Well, they kind of like.
Well, I think they appeal to different elements. Like you know, like as a kid, you're like you don't understand the kind of importance of that scene. You're just like, man, these fucking bears are cool. Like as a kid, and all these like creatures singing rock songs and this, and you know what I mean, with this gangster is cool, and this girl is like wearing less clothes than I've ever seen a girl wear before, and it's fucking amazing. You know, as a young lad.
Yeah, and she was covered up a lot in the first one. You're like,
oh my
that's
god,
what she
you're
looks
like, oh, that's what you're hiding. You little minx.
Yeah, look at you. Job is like, you're gonna be putting this on.
You know what's funny? My dad used to always laugh when we would watch that movie together. My dad used to always laugh when he would say, "In time, you will learn to appreciate me." My dad used to like chuckle, and I never understood it as a kid. Like, what was so funny about it? But like as an adult, I'm like, "Oh, you sick little nasty fuck."
Yeah.
But yeah.
Look what they did to Jabba's hut. You know, like in the remaster. Yeah, I was gonna say because Lando's was a house. He had a dining room, and he had fucking all kinds of cool shit going on. You know, he's in the you know. But yeah, I don't want to go back to that. But look what they did to Job is like in the remastered thing, how they really made it ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like it looked like fucking like The Voice. You know, like you know, you're like holy shit. Like you know, instead of like getting gonged off though, you got eaten by a giant fucking thing in the basement. But you like
it feels very Muppety.
Yes, and that's when they lost me in freaking
that music.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, like Miles Davis just showed up and fucking whatever. Like, what is this, man?
So fun fact about Laptineck, right? Which is the original song that plays the.
Yeah. Okay.
Fun fact about that: it's written by John Williams' son. And the original version was performed by John Williams' son as a reference track, and it's done in English. And then it was translated to the kind of Hut language. And John Williams' son, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but he was the lead singer of Toto.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The same.
Okay.
The same.
Interesting.
Yep. So that's a little fun fact about that. Empire was cool, though. The kids, Selena fell asleep. Laura stayed awake. This is like the second time she's been able to stay awake through that movie. It's probably her least favorite of all the Star Wars movies because
she'll get there.
I'm fingers are crossed. You know what it is? It's lore heavy. You know, it's like all the stuff with Yoda and Luke is all explaining. It's explaining the myth of Star Wars to everybody.
It's everything, and that the whole thing. Everything is centered around that movie.
But it's a lot of explanation. You know, so like if you're not invested in it, it's dry. You know, like where to me, I'm like hanging on every word. You know, and I'm like, did you see what he said? Do you see what it means?
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, what's something luminous? I'm sorry. Like, you know, but. That's the thing about it is like it is dry in that regard. So I don't blame her but she made it through. This is the second time she's made it through all the way. So maybe she's starting to come around. I'm trying to think if I did anything else. I hurt my neck yesterday, so to speak, and I'm recovering. Laura's working on me. So I did the Tool show for Patreon.
Tool time.
It's fantastic. It is so on Patreon, Gary. We do this. My wife and I do this thing. I look forward to it every month. That's the thing I would look forward to the most. Father's Day, I asked to do a second show of it, like just because of how much I enjoy. So my wife and I sit down and we had the show called the Bobby Boogie Bop, and it's a couple hours, and we take usually one artist and discuss their music, play songs from them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and have a bit of a show. So we did Tool because they just released a new album. And it'll probably be another 10 years before they decide to do one again, if they decide to do one again. But it's pretty all-encompassing, like covers everything, and it was a well-done episode. So I enjoyed doing that. And I'm trying to think if we... okay, so here's
a lot
one.
of material for Tool.
Yes.
It's a big topic, you know.
Yes. Yeah. And the problem is, like, sometimes like, to show people what a Tool song means, it's like you got to play the whole thing. It's like hard to chop. You know, because it's like she said, it's like some of those songs are like a fucking journey, you know, and like it's like a movie almost. And you start at one place and you go through some ups and downs and you end in someplace else, you know. And so those songs you almost feel responsible for playing all the way through, you know. So like the show's a long show, but it was a good one. I lost a little bit of my emotions on Saturday morning. I went to Selena's basketball game.
Selena basketball game?
Yeah, she's playing. She's playing now too, of about equal caliber. I don't know, So here's my thing. I ultimately think it's largely a waste of time for those two.
For basketball.
Yes. However, I do like the idea of them learning about teamwork, and I do like the idea of them being active. So I am in support. However, what I learned this weekend is I'm only in support if you are putting forth effort. And watching her not put forth any effort was the most aggravating thing for me. All I could think about was the hundreds of dollars we had spent to kind of get her in the league. Like I just kept seeing the money, you know, and I was like, I told her because she was doing this a lot. Like she would like hold her hand to like be picking at a fingernail, and I was like, if your left hand touches your right hand one more time during this game, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Did you yell that out loud?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, and then
not good, but I guess.
and I brought her over to me, and I was like, do you want to play? And she was like, no, I just like to practice. I don't like the games. And I was like, well, we're paying for both, so you're playing both.
He just wants to practice.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Kids are so great in their honesty, man. Like, look, man.
Yeah. I just like the fun part, shooting the baskets.
Yeah.
Like, well, bitch, we could do that for free down at the park.
Just like to practice. And usually it's the other way around. So it's such an interesting. I'd love to have a conversation with her about that.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So, anyways, I was so aggravated, and then like, you know, so like. She's very young, so they don't have like the same rules in regards to the game. So what happens is the kind of kids go to one end, the kids try to make a basket. Either the other team gets control of the ball and comes back to the other side, or they make a basket and they kind of just start on the other side now.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like you make a basket, I give the ball to the opposite team member, and they get to go down the court, and then you go follow them because they're so young. It's like it would be absurd to watch anything else.
Dribble,
you know, they would just be standing in a circle, swatting at each other. You know, so. This kid misses the shot at my daughter's basket. Another kid on my daughter's team gets control of the ball and starts dribbling it back down to the side for my kid's team to score. All the kids run, and here comes my kid walking down. Like, you know, can't be bothered. Just like, I'm on my way. You know, like, look. Don't wait for me. Yeah. I'll let you know when I get there.
I know where the basket is. I'm not going to get lost on the way there.
It was dry. I was like, pick your feet up and put them down.
Someone has you on video somewhere on the internet.
Oh, I'm sure.
Can you believe this guy?
Right.
This dad?
And I don't give a shit about sports. I don't care if she wins or loses. I don't care about any of that shit. I don't care if she misses every basket. I just want her to put forth the effort. That's it. Because I would like just for her getting the exercise is worth the investment for me. But like when I see like the walk, she's the only one walking. You know what I mean? And like, or like playing with her fingers and shit. It's not. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it.
It stands out.
It stands out.
I got you.
Did you watch her at practice?
So she's only had 2 practices so far, and one practice I was at work, and the other practice, the baby ended up getting I almost said a night because I'm losing my fucking mind.
The baby had a night.
The baby had a nap, so somebody had to stay here with the baby and Laura took.
Because I was saying, like, if she's putting forth effort at the practice, then at that point, do you care?
Well, no, I don't care about the practice. I still care
No,
about
I
the
mean,
game.
overall, like, if,
like,
if you
if-
knew
if-
that she put forth effort at the practices and she just doesn't give a fuck about the games,
I still care.
it's okay.
Because like we all had to get up early and get in the car and get everybody fucking fed and get everybody in their fucking outfits and do all this
and
shit.
it's showtime.
Yeah, and then we had to-
now it's
then-
time to show.
Then we had to drive to the thing.
Yeah.
And then I got to sit there, you know what I mean, for an hour and watch something that I hate that I'm happy to do if I get to watch you put forth the effort because it's rewarding for me, even though I think it's silly, right? But I cannot do that again. Laura was like, I don't think you'll come to future games on Saturday. And I was like, it's not, I said, don't make this a me problem. This isn't a me problem. This is a she problem.
Right. I'm not the one who needs to be fixed here. This is this
Yeah.
should be good for everybody. And she starts doing what the games are designed
Correct.
to do.
Your reaction
and
is
she'll
justified.
enjoy it.
Correct.
And you know what it is, man. And look, I obviously, I've been there. I coach. I've been around sports for years and stuff like that. And I get it. And the thing is, what you're trying to, you're trying to find that switch because there is a switch where she will, if she's into the practices, she'll get there for the games. Once she starts on, what's the age again?
She is 6.
6. Okay. So really still very young.
Correct.
And the idea of what the object of the game is, right?
Correct.
So once that switch turns where, I'm going to try to, to get the goal. And I'm not talking about the ball.
Right, the objective.
The objective. I'm going to try to compete a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that'll come, especially if she's playing. And I get it. As a parent, when you watch your kid, you're not there to watch other people's kids.
Right. No,
And you're
absolutely
not
not.
watching. You're not there. And I go. We all go through it. And that's where we go through that.
Except Jana's team. Jana's team's got a really good kid on it. It's like super fun to watch.
Okay,
but aside from, but I mean, but that's an extreme.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you don't want to start throwing up comparisons. Like,
Oh,
hey, man.
there's no
look,
comparison.
I
I let Jana never play one-on-one with this kid. This kid will mop the floor with you.
Yeah, right. For now, and
No,
it's
forever.
like-
This kid's only getting better. 2 years now I've watched this kid. He just keeps improving. Because it's a co-ed team also. So like I have
Okay, it's co-ed basketball.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. It's and here it's only they only split the sexes at a certain age.
Right, not yet.
It's not yet.
Okay.
So like but them the rules. You want to play, you're on the team, but it's you and a bunch of boys, and these boys are playing hard. So you either play hard or get the fuck off the team.
And that's the point right there. It's like, look, you don't have to be great.
Correct.
You just have to be there. And you and I
No, it's got to be because Selena's there. That's
No,
the
no.
problem.
when I mean there, like,
No, I know
like
what you mean.
people,
I know what you mean.
like you could just be annoying.
Right.
You could be where the ball is, just
Correct.
throwing your hands up in the air. That kid who's great,
Correct.
start throwing a hand in his
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
and
yeah,
see
just
what it's
a-
like to
a
shoot
little effort.
a little bit of
Yep.
whatever. You could find your niche, okay, and do that niche and be accountable and feel good about.
Yeah.
Then we could talk about something on the ride home instead of, hey man, you really did good picking your fucking fingers today,
Yeah.
and then you feel like a jerk because then the head goes.
But that's the thing too. Is you don't like because I was like
Everybody falls into that trap.
I told her and I stopped when I saw her facial expression. I stopped because I was like, "Fuck, that was her spirit right there that I heard. I don't want her to.
Stepping on
I'm,
you.
I'm okay with hurting your feelings, but I don't want to hurt your spirit.
Right.
So I said something. I was like, I said something about her hands. I was like, when we get home, I'm checking those hands.
Right.
I was like, I'm checking those hands
Right.
because I want to make sure that you at least accomplish something today.
Yes.
So those hands better be clean.
and me, right? And,
To a 6-year-old.
yes, and I get it, and it's just, dude, it's so easy to fall into that trap, and me being the freaking jerk off that I am, like I would see that, oh look, I'm starting to make a dent in their feelings. Let me fucking put the gas down and really fucking make this sting because they might remember this next week, and instead they just walk around with slow soldiers and fucking feel miserable about themselves for a month.
Yeah.
And then and you don't want to do that. Take it from experience. So
I mean, it's definitely not my goal to crush her spirit.
no, and it's an easy fucking line to cross, and
But what she doesn't understand, I don't know anything Laura understands, is that I don't care if she's good.
right.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Just wanted to try.
I just wanted to try. And I only wanted to try because she said she wanted to do it.
Right.
You didn't push her into basketball.
Hell no. That's the last thing I want to do with my Saturday morning. My Saturdays are trash now.
$100.
I don't even want to, it's like, I'll go to work. Just because I sit there for this one game, and then it's like, it's not like they're consecutive or back to back.
Right.
Jana has a game and Selena has a game every Saturday now, and they're like 2 hours apart. So we got to go to one game,
right.
do that, go somewhere, or come home,
right.
and then leave again and go to the other game, and then come home. So like, I don't get to do anything with my wife or like in that regard until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, I love my kids, love doing stuff with my kids. Don't get me wrong, but I hope they never listen to this episode.
Let me ask.
My wife is my favorite. And that's who I want to be. That's who I want to be spending the majority of my time with. Okay,
right.
She's my favorite.
Right.
She's my MVP.
Right.
My kids know this. They're like, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite kid? And I'm like, I don't have a favorite kid. But my favorite is mommy.
Right.
That's my
because
favorite.
you could actually have a relationship and bounce stuff off that.
I'll make more of them.
Yeah. right. Until you get the perfect perfect freaking ingredients. All right. You get a trying basketball player and someone who can have a cool conversation with.
But I just mean that like I don't always get a whole lot of time with my wife because the mopping schedule. I work weekends sometimes. I work days that she's off or whatever the case may be. She's usually off Thursdays and the weekend. Sometimes I work Thursdays and then sometimes I work the weekend. Like you just never know with mopping. So I don't get enough time with her. I feel like so like I want to enjoy it. Now if I can do time with her and the kids,
I get it.
Even better, even better. But like this isn't that. But is what the kids want to do. So I do what a father should, and I put the kids first in that regard, But just don't make me suffer for it. Don't make me suffer for it by fucking looking like if you didn't know, you would think I put a shotgun to her head and I was like, no, you're signing up for basketball whether you like it or not. Like there was no element of want or need for her to be out there on that what do they call it,
court.
field.
But
court.
she wants to be out there, right, on the court.
She wants to be at the practice.
She wants to be at the practice.
So let me ask you a question, and you draw really well, right?
I try.
You're right, but was it something that came natural?
No.
Okay, so. But you learned how to be good at it.
Correct.
Okay. That is a really good approach you could take with your little one and be like, look, they see the things that you create and stuff like that.
Right.
And explaining like, you like basketball because you asked me to be here, not the other way around. You might not naturally get it like some of the kids do, like right off the bat.
Right.
But if you really do enjoy this, there are things you can do to learn to be good at it. And, number one, you might not want to hear this, but to kick on a women's basketball game,
right.
And, watching the Terps play and in a much, obviously they're playing at a much higher level.
Correct.
But point out to someone who might be playing where she might be somewhere like, you see what she's doing? You know what I mean? You see why she's doing that? And
I wouldn't have
it might, and it might.
Look at him go.
It might not. It might not sink in right away. But bringing that association, like if you enjoy it, great. Okay. But you don't have to be great yet. But you have to try now.
Yeah.
And this is what my drawings, if you have some old ones back in the day, this is what they used to look like.
Right.
This is what they look like now. Because I cared enough and wanted to be good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No,
but I don't know. But I guess that is the question, right? Is there any desire at all to play the game? Right. Or does she just like shooting baskets? And if she just likes to shoot baskets, no problem. Mm-hmm. But I'll save the $200 or whatever it is, and we'll just walk down to the basketball court every Tuesday for an hour, and she can shoot baskets every Tuesday at practice for an hour and come home.
And you know what happens too? Once you have a little bit of success, once you're like, we go back to Star Wars, right? When Luke was getting zapped by that fucking stupid thing floating around on the time, like, this fucking sucks. And all of a sudden he got into a little scuffle in the fucking woods, which Darth Vader knocked his head off, and he's like, I might be good at this. And now I'm in. So one little steal here, a good dribble there, and then you start building that.
I don't disagree, and I kind of think that's where Jana is, right? But Selena actually made a basket.
But by the way,
not at this game. She didn't do a shit at this game.
Right.
She cleaned her nails. But at the game beforehand, she actually made a basket. And Jaina still hadn't made a basket. You know, she's gotten some steals, she's gotten some other stuff, but she hasn't made a basket. Selena, first game, made a basket, and now she's like, mission accomplished. Yeah, you know, like, that's all.
So it was always success too early. She got bored.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like my theories on this, like if my family was listening, be like, oh, that's really nice because that's nothing like how you were.
Right.
If you could see me with the windows up, yelling at my kids after the game, I look like Happy Gilmore yelling at his golf ball. You're like, what the fuck is he doing to that kid? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you be on the baseball field looking like that? I'm the worst. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to save people from being a total dick like I was. You know what I mean?
You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, see, I am wondering because Jaina plays, and Selena does have this big sister, little sister complex with Jaina. Mm-hmm. And I am wondering, like, is this something you really want to do, or do you just want to be like Jaina? You know? And
sorry.
Because maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something else.
I'm used to it with this guy.
Maybe there's something else that you would prefer to do. You know what I mean? Like softball or I don't know, field hockey, whatever the fuck people do. You know, like maybe there's something else you would prefer that you'd have more fun. It'd be you, because I have to tell Selena all the time. You know, you've heard Selena say now, like, "Oh, school is boring."
Yeah.
I'm like, do you think school is boring, or are we just trying to be Jaina for today? You know, because you don't have to be Jaina. Like, what makes you special is you're you. You know,
You should let Dante take her to be JJ.
That
might be her thing.
She might
fuck some kids up.
Yeah, she might take to that more. She's an aggressive kid. You know, which is I think another reason why I was frustrated to see her not be aggressive. It's like, this is the time. You know, like
elbows.
Every day I'm telling you not to run. Now the one day where you're supposed to run, you want to fucking have a little trot. You know, like
yeah, the lights are on, man. Here we go. My son was going through that with soccer, and he still is. And he plays soccer, and he's a good little player. He plays for a travel team, but so the stakes are a little higher. But it's like a B-level travel team. It's not like a the super competitive league or whatever. But what he's not what I call banging bodies out there. Like he's not. I'm like, all you have to do is be willing to make contact with people. You know what I mean? And, obviously it doesn't come out the way, saying it as calmly as this, but I watch the whole game and I'm watching like a kid stop short in front of him, dribble around him, and then freaking put one in the corner of the goal, and I'll be looking at him like, while he's walking back, like, could have decked that fucking kid, You know what I mean? That goal's on you, Nick. And at least, and I yell that out, like, and everyone's like, he's like, thanks, Dad.
But that's like my dad. My dad, made me play baseball. But see, that's another thing. I never asked. I never asked to play baseball.
Right.
My dad was sure that I was going to be a professional baseball player. Was absolutely positive.
Right.
You gave Selena a choice you never had.
Yes, to bring it full circle. So I was
if you something right now.
So I would be on the field and I'd be doing my own thing. I'm thinking about Ninja Turtles or whatever the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden my dad would be like, "Hey!" Like across the field, and I look over at him, like with the big eye face.
Yeah.
Right. Get your head out of your ass. Right. I'm like, oh God.
Right.
And then I'm like humiliated. I don't want anything to do with the game. I don't want it. It was a big turn off to me. I never had any. I did Taekwondo because I wanted to fucking be able to fight like Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. And then when I found out that wasn't that, I was like, well, this is bullshit.
Strip mall karate is the worst fucking thing anybody can do for a fucking parent. It is the worst. Going back to, Nikki, from what I understand, last game I was mopping, and Nikki apparently decided to start banging some bodies, and from what I understand, people gave him some love after the game. Like, hey man, and I'm like, that's what you have to do.
Right.
You don't have to be Pele.
Right.
You just gotta be. You gotta be fucking. You gotta be.
But you gotta be Nick turned up.
Yeah, exactly. And from what he's a good sized kid, considering. So and from what I understand, he did it, and maybe it was because I wasn't there. So there's always this fine line where you're doing more damage than good, and as a parent. Everyone always said...
You said it's a parent?
As a parent?
Oh, as a parent.
Yeah, sorry. So, as a parent, it seems like...
As a parent as what, Gary?
Yeah, it's as a parent as fucking... as a parent.
Oh, okay.
You know, everyone always said, you know, oh, they don't come with instructions, and you're like, fuck that, I'm gonna do this perfectly. I'm gonna have this shit down.
Yeah, I know. I saw all the mistakes all you guys made.
Got
lucky me. I've been observant. You all made your mistakes.
Right, and then I created a whole new fucking like category of mistakes. Like no one even seen the shit you fucking created. You fucking idiot. Yeah, you created a whole new fucking like what a mutant of fucking of mistakes that you've generated. You know, so you always think you're gonna do it right. Your intentions are always in the best place, but the delivery's always got to be.
It's all over the place.
You know.
Yeah, and because I hit her with one more line when I got home. I was like, I forget what it was, but it was something like, I was like, clean your room or do something, and she did it half-assed, you know. And then I was like, can you at least put your shoes away so you could have done one thing 100% today, you know? Like, but you know, I got to be careful with her, man, because she's the most sensitive one. But enough about her. I'm working on it. So she's a work in progress. I'm a work in progress.
Aren't we all?
You know, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. How was your nerd week?
Mine?
Yes.
Wow, how was my?
Tell me about the argument with your kid in the grocery store.
Oh, okay. An argument with my kid present.
Right,
So,
right.
So okay, that's a good one. So I'm running through the supermarket. I'm trying to get some groceries to make dinner, quick and in a hurry. You know, practices, whatever. And I'm like, I'll cook. You know, so I'm running through the supermarket, and I hate the self-checkout lines. You know, I mean, I hate them. If you ever seen Bill Burr's special, I'm right fucking there with him.
Okay. All right. Why do you hate him?
You know, why do I hate him?
Yeah.
Well, watching Bill Burr special, he pretty much did everything that is in my head. He fucking said.
Fair enough.
So, it's just you know, I don't like doing shit that I don't have to. You know what I mean? And to me, it's just confusing. You know, for years I've been fucking geared towards this is how it works. Here's my shit. Fucking ring it up and I'll pay you.
Right.
You know, so. There was only one of the regular, traditional checkout lines available. So I'm like forced to go to this thing. So I go to the fucking, I go to the self-checkout. I mean, I've seen it done. I know how it works. You know what I mean? I have a pretty good grasp on it. If someone's up there doing their shit, I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to fucking click my shit on the scanner. Right? So I go stand behind. This is the last place I thought I was going to get fucking shamed. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't fucking need this. Right? So I fucking, I'm trying to get dinner done. I'm trying to, in my head, do I have everything I need? I don't want to make another trip. I got my kid with me, we're having a good time. It's fun. And I go stand behind this lady and I hear, hey, buddy, over here. And I'm about to check my shit and I look and my son is talking to this guy and he's standing like in front, like 30 yards back, like in this aisle, like this, like, I don't know, the people who do like self-proclaimed that this is where you stand when and you should know this, left to drop off, right to pick up. Where you been, asshole? Right. I mean, and he's talking to my kid. You know what I mean? And I look over and I look at Nikki. I look at the guy. I'm like, oh, there's a line over there, and he's like, and he gives me a nod, like yeah, of course it is, new guy. So I'm like, all right, I fucking grab my shit and I walk over and I'm like sitting there, and this fucking little old lady walks by with a bunch of shit, and I know she ain't gonna be faster at this thing than I am, and I have shit to do, So she walks by like three of us, and like five people are stuck like in fucking prison by this guy who's like fucking monitoring the line. All he needed was like a safety patrol fucking belt. Remember those assholes? So I'm like, so she walks by and she goes to check it. I look at the guy. I'm like, so you like the fucking line police today? And she fucking, so he sits there and he's like, and he has no idea what the fuck to say. My son's like, oh shit, here we go. And I have like a thing of milk too, and it's heavy, and I'm fucking had enough of this shit, So the guy standing to his left is like, yeah, fuck you, and he walks off. And he goes to like the self-checkout, like he didn't want to be involved in this shit, right?
Right.
So he's like, he just like gives me a smirk, and I'm like, whatever, and So the lady who goes ahead of us is now having a fucking problem with her fucking check.
Of course.
I'm like, of course she is, right? She like rang everything up at once. The thing's like fucking like ticking really fast like a bomb now, right? I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous, you know? So she goes off the thing. Now she needs the special help, you know, when like
Yes.
the fucking suit,
The
like,
one guy.
Yeah, the one who should be fucking opening up a register anyway comes over like, let me help you with this. And, so they take it to like a quarantine room because she fucked up. Right? Probably never gonna see her again, right? So now the thing is open, right? So I look at the guy. I'm like, I'm gonna go now. Is it all right if I fucking check my shit out? So he's just standing there like this. I'm like, I'm looking at him. So now another fucking cooler comes in because the other lady's disappeared. She's gone. I don't know where she is, and yells at me. Right? She's like, "Sir, don't touch that line." And the guy's walking by, and he has this glee on his fucking face that I just got yelled. Like he's like, "See, I told you, asshole. You don't, whatever." And I'm like, so. I have to step back, and she's like, "Don't touch that, please," because the old lady malfunctioned the fucking thing, and I can't. No one's allowed to touch it for like a day now, whatever the fucking rule is. You know, so I'm like this. So now she yells at me. I look over. And this fucking guy is staring at me with this face full of glee. Like he's just so happy. I just got schooled in front of everybody.
Right, reprimanded.
Yes, and I'm fucking furious. So now I just lock eyes with him. I won't take my eyes off him while he's walking away. And I'm still trying to charge my shit, but nothing's fucking ringing up. And I'm just staring at him like, I don't even look at it. Yeah. So as he's walking away, he blows a kiss at me. And
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. Like, because he works there, right?
No.
No.
It's just
He doesn't work there.
It's just a random guy.
Yeah, he's just some guy decided to take the mantle of the fucking line.
So he's the Miss Mackey. You forgot to give us homework, Miss Mackey.
Yes. No, he doesn't work there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, he's in charge of the self-checkout.
I see.
Self-proclaimed.
I see.
Okay, so no, he's checking his shit out. Of course, he's doing it right because he's had a lot of fucking experience. You know, so I'm still trying to ring my shit up and nothing's happening. And and just watching this guy, and he's done, and he walks away, and he blows a kiss at me. So I look at him. I said, "Yeah, I know I'm pretty, man. I keep walking, all right." So I look down, and I look at my son, who's just like,
"What is going on?"
Yeah, I'm more like, "Here we go again." Yeah, you know, and so now. The lady comes over and she fixes the machine, and I want to get out of there so fast because I'm an idiot and I don't want to think this guy thinks that I'm like trying to not get out of the store fast enough. I'm almost hoping for a confrontation, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right, so I'm like, is it working? Is it working? And she's like, slow down. You know, so she packs my stuff. She tries to be nice to me now because she knows she was a little whatever, and I'm having none of it. You know, so she's like, "Have a nice day." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, whatever. Give me my receipt." You know, and so we're walking out. And I'm walking to my car. I got my kid's hand, you know, and I'm walking to my car, and my head's on a swivel. You know, I'm like, "Where is he?" You know, Mr. Friggin', you know, kiss blower.
The helpful helper.
Yeah, the helpful helper, right? You know, I needed some extra credit work on how these lines actually work. I want to know, you know, for next time. So I get to nothing. I get to my car, see a couple of people, whatever. I get in the car, nothing. So I back out of the thing, and I'm explaining to Nikki how, look, man, you know, not. I know we've been down this road before, but you know, Dad's working on it.
Dude, working on it? Dude, that's the shit. Working on it always works. Yeah, you can tell your mom, you can tell your wife, like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm working on it. I'm working on me."
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes,
I'm working on me.
You take it.
The working on me bag is great.
Right, you're taking it. Like, look, you know, you're trying to be responsible after that debacle you just caused in the friggin' grocery store,
It's
right?
so true.
Yeah, and plus I'm hoping that he takes it easy on me when he tells the story to my wife. I'm like, listen, you know, he knows Nicky's smart. He knows I'm trying to lay the groundwork, you know what I mean? So I'm pulling out, I back out to my spot, I go around, and now this guy, he comes out of nowhere, and he's just on my bumper, and I'm just like, did you ever see the X-Men when Wolverine's like, nope, throws it to Mark and gets out of his car. So that's basically what I did with my kid in the front seat. And I get out, I'm like, hey man! Yeah, I'm walking over his car. And he drives away, he gives me the finger, I'm like, yeah! Whatever, I got in the car, I'm like, see that? You know what? Tell your mom whatever the fuck you want! Tell your now I'm fucking like 50, winner!
You didn't want none of it.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's that happened to me last week.
Tell your mom whatever the fuck you want. I'm a winner.
Oh shit, that's stupid as that.
But I'll tell you, man, like, not for nothing, like the I'm working on me, that shit is like, it's like the get out of jail free card.
Yes.
Like it always is successful. Like anytime anything goes left and I know I'm for real in trouble.
You're right.
I'm like, look, I'm working on me right now.
Not you. This is some stuff,
I'm working through it. It's complicated. I'm trying to get in touch with that side, figure out what's wrong.
Right.
I'm working on me.
That's it.
Oh God.
So that's like, that's a trip to the supermarket. My kids, it's an
Average day.
Yeah. I'm already trying to get like a therapist on retainer for my kids. Just giving them notes. Like they'll be coming to see you in a couple of years.
Look, here's the soccer situation.
Right. So that was.
Oh man, see anything? Watch anything?
We started watching Animal Kingdom.
What is that?
Animal Kingdom is it's been around for a couple of years. It's on TNT. My sister actually recommended it, and it's pretty good. It's like Point Break meets I don't know, Point Break. It's kind of like Point Break on steroids. I don't know what it. I think it's something later on. This Ellen Barkin's in it. She's like the she's the mother, like the matriarch of the family, and who I always loved Ellen Barkin growing up. My God,
My God.
Yeah, and she's still holding up, which is great. So she's got these 4 sons, and she's like, and they run bank jobs. So that's basically what they do. They're like a crew. And so she finds the jobs and they execute them, and they go out and they rob banks, or they rob jewelry stores. That's
right.
Basically what they are. They're just a bunch of thieves. And they all have these weird beginnings. They like, you can't tell who's really her kids, who she took in.
Oh, she just calls them her kids, but they're not actually.
Some of like, I think 2 of them are. But then like you hear a backstory on one of them as the show goes on, like, and then you see one's, you hear about one's mother, and he goes to visit his father every now and then, and so you're just assuming that it's not blood, but basically she has them in this animal kingdom. Like they live in this really cool house in Los Angeles. They have all kinds of toys. And the series starts off immediately. The first episode, this kid, he's probably like senior or junior in high school, and he's sitting on a couch next to this woman who just OD'd. And the paramedics come in the door. They look down at they walk over. They go to do their work on the woman on the couch, and they feel for a pulse, and they look over at the kid like, and immediately insinuating that she's gone. She's dead. So that's his mother.
Okay.
Okay, and Ellen Barkin, that's Ellen Barkin's daughter.
Okay.
Okay, so he gets on the phone. The next thing you think, he's on a cell phone. He's like, Grandma, and he tells her what happened, and she's like, come to the house. And he's apparently been estranged from his grandmother for years because the mother who OD'd and Ellen Barkin had a falling out. She was a junkie and whatever, and just couldn't be trusted. And that he was cut off from the family.
Mm-hmm.
So now he goes and see his uncles and Ellen Bark, and he walks up to the house. He sees jet skis, he sees dirt bikes, he sees, a nice house, not a mansion, but a cool looking beach house or whatever.
Right.
And he runs into his uncles, and like I said, they're almost like Point Break meets Lost Boys. Like, so they're all these like very privileged, like badass, fucking young, like mid-20s kids, guys, and they start sizing him up as soon as he gets there. They're like, "What the hell are you wearing?" And they don't really get into like their sister just died of an overdose, whatever. They just like they immediately need to change what he's wearing. They won't let him in the house if he looks like that.
Right.
So, then he starts getting introduced into the family and what they do, and that's basically that's the show in a
But you're
nutshell.
digging it.
Kind of. I am. Kind of.
Are you watching it because you want to catch up with everybody?
What's that?
Are you watching the show because you want to catch up with everybody?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that. I'm like, it's good, but it's not great yet, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep going forward. You know what I
Worth
mean?
the
I don't want to
investment.
swim to the middle of the lake and be stuck too far. But like, now I gotta finish this shit. You know what I mean? So
3 in, 3 out.
yeah. So
That's my
is that
rule.
it? 3 in, 3 out.
So like I'll watch 3 episodes and then decide if I want to continue.
Okay.
And if I only have 3 episodes left, I will finish.
Okay.
So 3 in, 3 out.
And the thing is, like you were saying with the missus, like I love this shit because this is something me and my wife do,
Right, right.
and it's a show, it's edgy, it's
Right,
it's
right,
fun,
right,
it's
right,
sexy,
right.
whatever,
Yeah.
and this is where it's like, all right, we're we don't got kids and don't have a lot of shit to do, you know what I mean? So this is where we try to find something that we could sink our teeth into. So sometimes one's more on board than the other, or this, that, and the other thing, and we just whatever. So we're trying to, and we're both kind of on the same page with this one, like. Not sure yet. It's good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's good enough.
Yeah.
To keep entertaining enough to keep watching it.
Almost like the time is more important than the show.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm with you. Like hanging out with her is great. When the kids aren't making us mad and want to strangle each other.
Right.
God, those kids fuck up everything.
Yeah. See, Bobby, motherfucker.
So I always give it. He didn't have any kids. I always give him a hard time.
Right.
Like,
I don't want any kids.
Like Joe, who will never know the joys of fatherhood. But,
Obviously, I don't have to deal with hand pickers and fucking
well,
tattletales.
it's just that parents have the opportunity to vent to one another in a way like you can't. That's the thing. Like, I mean, this is a podcast, so people are going to listen to this and form whatever opinions they will without really knowing me, perhaps. But like, I can't go up to like a stranger who doesn't have kids and be like, you know what, my kid is trash at basketball, trash,
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, what a monster,
Right.
But like if you say it to another parent, it's like, oh, I know it's frustrating to watch. Just get them to like, it's like it just resonates differently.
And then they'll join in with their stories. Like, your kid. Wait till I tell you about mine. Yeah. Then you don't feel like such a monster anymore.
Yeah,
Like that,
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
they go too far. We're like, this dude's fucked up.
Actually,
But we watched Daddy's Home last night.
oh yeah.
My son actually watched it with his friend, and so we watched it. Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah.
It was actually very fucking
funny, right?
Yeah, we watched both of them.
This is okay. I haven't seen the sequel. I saw the first one.
Sequel wasn't as good. It was funny. It was funny. It was fun. I like Mel Gibson, man. I love to see him show up in movies and then just being the total dick that he is was hilarious.
Yeah.
And, but the first one, I love Mark Wahlberg movies, man. I like him a lot.
Do you really?
I do. I think he's good in movies, man. And I like Will Ferrell. I fall for
Name
him
me
every
5 great Mark Wahlberg movies.
time. Basketball Diaries was fucking amazing.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Basketball Diaries?
doesn't like
It
it
wouldn't hit my radar.
It
I never even heard of it.
It was fucking outrageous.
Okay.
It's a true story
All right.
about this fucking.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm telling you,
Well,
that's a must see. That was
okay.
like his first movie.
Let's say I'll give it to you.
Okay.
All right. Next,
Next great Mark
Boogie
Wahlberg.
Nights.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I agree.
And something might slip my mind. I'll think of it on the ride home.
So I'll give you Boogie Nights.
Okay, Boogie Nights was great.
Transformers 5.
Nope.
No, I didn't even see that shit.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but I don't blame Mark
It's
Wahlberg
fucking
for
terrible.
that. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't...
Well, it doesn't help.
Yeah, well, I know, but you have big fucking giant robots, and if it's a fucked up movie, you can fuck that up. You can fuck, it doesn't matter who's
True.
Right. Okay, so, I liked Fear.
Fear.
Oh yeah.
I liked Fear with Reese Witherspoon.
That was a 90s movie.
So
Yeah, I
was
don't
so was
remember it.
Basketball Diaries.
Oh, that's probably why.
Basketball Diaries was really
I'll
good.
give you Departed.
Love Departed.
I'll give you Departed.
That's 4.
I don't know about Fear. I gotta look it up myself. I'll give you the
So
part.
you didn't see Fear.
I may have. I
Okay.
just don't remember. But I also don't think that like
Three Brothers I thought was good too.
Four Brothers.
I think
that
four.
shit is
I was gonna
trash.
say.
Is
That
it?
shit is trash.
All right, well.
Any movie with Tyrese in is trash by default.
He's in it?
He's one of the brothers. One of the four. Him, Mark Wahlberg, and then two other people that probably can't act.
Okay, so we'll take that off the table, I guess.
The one with George Clooney and Ice-T.
Three Kings?
Ice Cube. Yes, Three Kings.
I
Okay,
already-
that's good.
that was
That's
good,
good.
too.
That's good. I'll
I
give
think
you
that's
that.
what I meant to say.
Yeah. Three Kings, Four Brothers.
That's five, man.
No.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about Fear. Give me another one. Give me.
I'm sure I could give you another one easily if just because my memory's fucking shot anyway.
See,
so.
I think he does a lot of trash movies.
Everybody does though.
Yeah, man. Even Anthony Hopkins does some trash
I mean,
movies.
Robert De Niro's done some shitty
Oh my God,
fucking
very
movies,
bad.
man.
Yeah,
I mean, his last. I haven't seen The Irishman yet. I'm looking forward
It's
to
probably
it.
gonna be great, though.
It probably is.
Yeah.
But his last like 20 movies have been fucking.
You didn't like Analyze Me
shit.
Too?
No. Oh my, Analyze Me Too. He couldn't even say it right. Yeah. I mean, how fucking dumb was? I loved Analyze This though.
Yes.
Like,
Right,
Analyze
right.
This was fucking great, and then
Right.
they turned him into this fucking like idiot. Oh, forget that fucking movie. But and that was like the beginning. I mean, Eddie Murphy's done shit fucking.
Oh yeah,
movies.
for sure.
So
for sure.
I mean, so to
but
say,
you and I disagree on Golden Child.
of course we do.
Yeah, no, we agree on 48. So, well, no, we don't agree on because he thinks 48 Hours is better than Beverly Hills
Beverly
Cop,
Hills
which,
Far
is,
superior
which
movie.
he's out of his mind.
Far superior movie.
But I told him that we had that conversation at the table
Yes.
and that you guys agreed with me that Beverly Hills Cop was better than 48 Hours. But then I said that you guys thought Lethal Weapon was better than 48 Hours. And he's like, well, that invalidates all their opinions anyway.
Somebody just dragged that out of their ass too. Like it wasn't even part of the Lethal Weapons, but like what? It's not even the same genre. It's like what the fuck are you talking about? Well, you know, Schindler's List was better than fucking E.T. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Schindler's List was better than E.T. Oh my god!
You know? So, I mean, come on, man.
Come on, man. Oh god! But yeah, fucking Golden Child is great, and I just watched it recently.
Not great.
It still holds up.
No, no, it's even worse now. That like it's like, dude, it's like look at where Eddie Murphy is now, and I'm praying for him to make a comeback. I heard he's on his way. So
Yeah.
but that was like the beginning of the end. You're like, dude, you know,
It was great.
Vampire in Brooklyn. I mean,
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
Horrible.
That's bad.
Horrendous.
And then like Haunted Mansion.
And I love vampire movies. I
And
was
even
like,
even all that Nutty Professor,
Nutty
Dr.
Professor.
Doolittle, he could have kept all that shit. But,
yeah, but Nutty
Dr.
Professor.
Doolittle, I like the soundtrack though.
What's that?
Oh yeah.
Dr.
Well,
Doolittle.
most of, I mean, Nutty Professor and Dr. Doolittle probably had both great soundtracks.
So I like those movies because the soundtracks are good.
Okay, I'll take that.
It seemed
Nutty
like-
Professor soundtrack. The Case Touch Me Tease Me is the shit off of there, by the way. But go
Yeah?
ahead. No, my God,
I'll
yeah.
take your word
A
for
good
it.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so, like it's to say he's made some trash movies just to see like the rise. To be able to shed Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch and
Yeah.
fucking become what he's become today
Yeah.
is pretty fucking remarkable because that he had to dig out of a hole for me.
Yeah, I feel like most people gave him a pass. I really do. Like I feel like when
Why didn't they give Donnie the other fucking groups a pass either?
I don't think they know. I really don't think like because they nobody says anything about Donnie. Like Donnie is in Four Brothers. Nobody says like anything. You know.
Donnie's in Four Brothers.
Yeah, and he's also in.
Maybe I didn't see that fucking movie.
No. I'm sorry, not Four Brothers. I'm thinking about that trash movie now. Not Four Brothers.
He was great in Six.
The military show,
Yes.
the military movie.
Oh yeah, that one.
But no, it was like a show. It was an HBO show. It was like during World War II.
Band of
like,
Brothers?
Band of Brothers.
Donnie was in that?
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never seen
yeah.
that.
He's
Heard
like
it was
one of the
great.
officers.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, and then he was the.
But he was great in Sixth Sense. Like that one part.
Well, that's
he
what I was
had-
getting ready to bring up
Yeah.
next,
Oh,
and he's
okay,
great in
sorry.
Sixth Sense. But like, I don't think that people put that together that was Donnie Wahlberg
Yeah, that's
of
the same
New
guy,
Kids
yeah,
on the
probably
Block.
not.
You know, I think people just thought it was some actor they'd never seen or
because
whatever.
he was in a band and it kind of melded.
and it was so long before, you know what I mean? Nobody was thinking about
different
New Kids.
generation,
It was
probably.
a different generation. He looks wild different in
Yes.
Sixth Sense than he does
Well,
on New Kids on the Block.
Yes, but the thing is with Mark Wahlberg, it was like he. Funky Bunch or whatever, you know, I can't even say it.
Can't say with a
I'm
straight
trying to
face.
say it like, hey, you know, like, you know, whatever.
You know,
but
vibrations,
But like, that
good
was like
vibrations.
right around the same time. Yeah, I mean, which the song, I mean, it comes on, everyone goes fucking bananas. So I mean, you know, he definitely left a mark with that one. You know, pun intended.
I go,
But,
I go bananas trying to get to it to turn it
yeah,
off.
yeah. But people are like, oh shit. Yeah, you know, so you got, you know, it
Why there are those records from the '90s? I feel like that are like
But he was. What I'm saying is, he was around when New Kids were around. The generation wasn't that far apart.
Yeah, but he still looks like Marky Mark. Like he still looked the
yeah.
same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Donnie looks way different.
But I think that's better for Mark Wahlberg because he looks good. Like,
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is that the reason why I think that Donnie does get a pass, I just think it's because people don't realize that he was even Donnie. They're just like, that guy, whoever that guy was, he doesn't know, right? You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Marky Mark does get a pass. I'm not sure why, but he does. I feel like he got a pass since Boogie Nights. I feel like as soon as Boogie Nights came out, you couldn't find a person to say anything bad about that movie.
well, yeah, but if you see, but the one that jumped off first was Basketball Diaries, and he was really good in that with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, I'll take your word for it.
But it's just a really good movie, a good story about and true story about a kid who becomes a junkie in New York.
That sounds way more interesting than the title to me.
It has nothing to do with basketball.
No, well, why didn't they say that? If the movie was called "This has nothing to do with basketball," there's a better chance of me of seeing.
I take that. Well, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I take that back. It does have a little bit to do with basketball because they're a group of these 5 friends in one of the boroughs in New York. I don't think it's Manhattan, but they're in Atlanta, Manhattan all the time. And Leonardo DiCaprio is the main character, and they play basketball for this prep school, and he journals his whole life. Leonardo DiCaprio does,
Right.
And they start like they're really wild kids. They play for a basketball team, but they're really wild kids, and like they get like these pack of pills before the game. They have no fucking idea what they are, and they just like, let's see what happens. Who knows what and they take a chance, and it turns out they're fucking like Valium, and they're running around the court like smashing it, like it's like just give you an idea what they're like.
Yeah.
And then like the kid, like one of their main friends, he's not a basketball player. He's kind of like a nerdy, like a smaller nerdy kid, whatever. So when they go play basketball, he goes into the other team's locker room and fucking robs them blind and shit like that. So then they take the money and buy drugs and shit. So and then what happens is he goes into this freaking they all go into this freaking hell of addiction.
Right.
And they just go fucking ape shit.
I think that sounds a lot more interesting than
It's
definitely.
a very fucking interesting movie, and the coach is this sick fuck. And
well, I think the thing is that like there was just all those movies around that time that were about basketball.
Air Bud?
Like it was like Air Bud for sure. Air Bud 2. There was
Space Jam.
See, God damn it, Joe. Let me tell you something. I was gonna work my way around it, and I had Hoop Dreams, Love and Basketball, Soul in the
like
Hole, White Men Can't Jump.
I like
White Men
I
Can't
had
Jump,
all of these lined up, and then I was gonna say and Space Jam, and that was gonna be my punchline, but you beat me to it.
But yeah, but that's where Mark Wahlberg stopped becoming Marky Mark. That's where like this motherfucker can act.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I feel like that may be true. But I feel like Boogie Nights was solidified.
It is.
Yeah,
that
okay.
was the one that made him a star.
You ever seen that movie Star Wars?
Which one was that again?
He's like 4 times. People say I look like Han Solo. Really?
Gotcha. How much can you bench? Do I look cool when I do that? It was like Napoleon when they fucking with the
Yeah.
Roman Empire.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into some notes for the week. It's very few. So
Yeah, sure, I see a lot of notification from Phil.
yes, but you know how that goes. So and so is being considered for the part of such and such. I'm like, delete. But thank you, Phil, because otherwise we wouldn't have any of these notes.
Anything. We have 0.
So I finally got my flowers, which I'll tell the story too. But Spider-Man is back with Disney. Did you see this?
I actually sent a link to my son who's ecstatic because
he's a huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Are we going to tinfoil hat this?
So no, I'm not going to tinfoil hat it, but they negotiated. So Disney wanted a 50-50 cut, which I said on this at this table was absurd, and I said that it was too much to ask from 5. And I want to say, I could be wrong, I had to go back and check the tape, but I want to say I said maybe 20, 25. So they settled for 25%, which I do think is fair. But then Adam sent me a flower in the chat.
Yep.
Because I said, what does that mean?
So when this happened, when the split up happened,
what does a flower mean?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
When the split up happened, I said, "Give me my flowers," because I had been saying since this whole contract went through that this deal is not a deal made in heaven. That this is a rocky deal. That there's mixed feelings on both sides. That's been my only argument. That people are not secure in this deal. Sony definitely has intentions for what they do with Spider-Man. They'll never give it up. And Adam used to say like, well, no, I think it's, they get to see the money. It's all about the money and it's solid. It's dollar signs. And I was like, it's just, so then the deal went south over money. And I was like, and then I made a big deal. Like, give me my flowers. Give me my flowers. Because all it shows is that the deal isn't solid. It's rocky. That it's not equal for everybody. So then when they got back together, he finally gave me my flower, which I'm sure was some sort of like snarky sort of remark. But I'm still taking the flower because my point still stands that it's not a fucking holy matrimony. Do you know what I mean? They're not in love with one another. They're just doing what they can for the money. But I think Sony, given the opportunity, would love to just keep it in their pocket. But the fan out. I think the fans. I'm of two minds about this, Joseph. So on one hand, I'm glad that the decision was made. Right. On the other hand, I can't help but think that the fans that bashed Sony for the past month, blowing up Sony's Instagram, Twitter, saying that it helped.
Good.
And it does irritate me. Remember when we had conversations about companies, like, and something that even that Adam and I agreed on with Star Wars was Lucasfilm giving in to actor preference. Like Han Solo died because Harrison Ford wanted to die. So they made it happen.
I mean, he could have just not signed a deal. He was not obligated to do anything.
Correct. Which is bullshit. Not that he died, but that Lucasfilm agreed to his terms for their movie. Right? Which I agree with.
As a, okay. I mean, it's a compromise. It's a negotiation. Like,
correct.
They really want him in the movie, so like...
Correct.
Otherwise, he'd be dead regardless.
But in the same way...
Right?
Right, which I agree. But in the same way, it makes me mad that Sony would cave... or that anybody would cave to fan reaction. To me, that's one step away from the petition.
It's not. It's the difference is, this isn't about the story. This is just about who gets to make Spider-Man movies. And again, like you said, it's about the money. It's about the bottom line. I'm sure the stock had something to do with it. I'm sure all these fucking shit and then probably stock, they see that the reaction actually caused money loss. Because big companies, right? They share. They're accountable to the shareholder. So they're like, well, fuck, man. All these people complaining all the time and bashing us nonstop.
Did their stock plummet?
I don't know, but I'm assuming it has something to do with it. They wouldn't do it if it wasn't about money. If they thought they would be successful on their own, if they were confident in that.
I can tell you that people blowing up your social media all day, like the person that's dealing with that is definitely making that known. Like,
and I don't know. I could be wrong because big companies can be fucking dumb sometimes because. It might not just be their shit getting blown up. They could be seeing reactions. They can be seeing people talking on
reaction
shows
vids,
or
YouTube blogs
or just things not even directed at them, but just seeing other people's conversation amongst themselves.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I think it's the right decision, and I'm happy that it was made because
you just didn't want them to.
I'm just of two.
And they didn't lose. Because they didn't lose either.
Because here's the thing.
They didn't give up 50%.
Here's the thing. I have to draw a line in the sand, right? I like this because it played out the way that I wanted to.
Right.
But what happens when it doesn't play out the way I wanted to? But people are making a big stink about it.
It's a bad precedent.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I become concerned about. Is what happens when they're like, no. I want Princess Leia to kill herself. And they all, sign a petition and they make some statements.
But petitions don't actually ever. Not that I know.
I'm just using it as an example.
No, I'm saying I don't think it's ever worked.
It hasn't. But I would say that I'm suggesting that perhaps the reaction to this news had something to do with them going back to the table.
I mean, maybe the reaction.
Maybe
the reaction was just that big.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, because we always hear about how the loudest voices are the most least amount. There's like 5 guys complaining really loud everywhere about things. But like if you hear fucking 10,000 people complaining about something, that's a whole different story.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying is with this particular scenario, I mean, I don't think anyone was happy.
Right.
I haven't met the person that was happy.
Right.
So
I think it's a gradation. Like it's a gray area. Like
I hope
at some point it tips over to the point where you have to listen.
Right. Well, I hope so. I hope so. But I hope it's just not setting a precedent of we cry and we bitch and we moan until we get what we want. Because that's the shit that becomes dangerous.
Because when it comes to actual story, like I don't want that. I don't want
Correct.
people to have anything to do with the story.
Correct.
I don't care what you want.
Correct.
Like, the artistic vision should remain pure.
Correct.
Well, the writer should be armed already. Like, I already wrote the fucking story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why, you know.
But everybody thinks they could do it better. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. But if it's already written and you stand by your convictions, it's just, you know, you're lacking something as a writer if somebody else's opinion is a better idea than
I
yours.
agree.
Or,
I agree.
You know what
There's
I mean?
a level of insecurity there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Especially when you don't even know what the numbers are, like you said. Like, for all you know, it's 5 people.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
right,
and,
right.
You know, and even if it is 1,000 people, like, no, this is what I fucking wrote. This is what came to me in the middle of the night, and this is what, you know.
Yeah, this is. I got hired for this job, and it was mine to sink or swim. you
Right.
know?
Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So anyway, he's back in Marvel. I think everybody's happy that he's back in Marvel. I think that he is the hope.
The linchpin.
I think now.
I think he's a new poster child.
Exactly.
RDJ.
Well, they
exactly.
killed Iron Man.
Iron Man's gone.
Right.
Thor's not coming back for a couple of movies. You know.
But if they found a guy young enough and charming enough as an actor, not even as the
correct.
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
America.
Spider-Man.
Captain America's going to be not in the mix. You know, like all of their linchpins
Yeah.
are gone
Yeah.
for the most part, with the exception of Thor. So like he is the new poster child, like you were
Yeah.
saying, and so
And
like
people love Tom Holland himself.
So I think for that franchise to be successful in this, like it needs him.
Till they build up another
Correct.
crew.
Correct.
Because I mean, people still love Guardians and stuff, but they're not.
And people love Black Panther, and you know,
But
like
they're not like
He's
they're
like
not
Tom
in it.
Brady.
correct. The quarterback.
Cheater?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And you
Yeah,
know.
no, I agree. I think I think you can make the argument that Spider-Man is the quarterback of Marvel Industries. You know, like Marvel Enterprises. That Spider-Man is the quarterback.
Even
And who's the
before-
who's the next important person in football?
Wolverine.
Whoever that is Wolverine.
Is
in,
that right?
In my opinion.
Well, even before the movies, even before the whole Avengers and Marvel kicked off this juggernaut that they started, everybody associates Marvel, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right,
You know what I mean? And you know, just like DC, Batman. You know, I mean, DC had a few of the big ones, but
That's the thing is DC's always had Batman and Superman.
You're right.
And now they kind of have Wonder Woman. I feel like they've kind of put Wonder Woman into the mix, and Joker and Harley probably also.
I think because the movie.
But I would also say that Deadpool's
Wonder,
in the mix now.
Yeah, but it's like a different.
It's a
level.
little different. It's a
off
little
to the
different.
side.
It's a little different, but it's
Same
definitely
level.
it's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
a different avenue.
Correct.
Where
Correct.
he's at.
Correct.
He-
I agree. I agree.
It's just edgy as Spider-Man.
Yeah. Just Spider-Man with talking about his balls.
Who could get cut in half and grow back and
Yeah. But I mean, like, you know, the quick whip.
Yeah,
Talking
I
shit.
got you.
Yeah, talking
Just
shit.
rougher.
Okay, so the next one, Thy Kingdom Come. I only brought this up. Phil's been wanting us to talk about this for some time, but you know, the DC TV shows are doing Crisis on Infinite Earths. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, they keep
no.
talking about casting like people to do.
You're familiar with Crisis on Infinite Earths?
No.
So, a quick kind of for dummies crack rock version of Crisis, right? DC looked at its history of since the 30s up until I think the Crisis was done in 80s. So we're talking about 50 years, 40 years of history. And it was all over the place, right? You had Bam Boom Bow Batman, you had Neil Adams Batman, you had Batman who used guns, you had, you know what I mean? There's all different variations. So what they did was they created Crisis on Infinite Earths. And what that suggested was that there was infinite universes and all of those Batmans are valid. They're just, you got to see glimpses of them from different universes. You weren't always necessarily following the same Batman story. It was just you were jumping to a different universe. So Bam, Pow, Boom, Adam West Batman is a legit Batman in its own universe, and that's how they did it. And then they slammed them all into one, which was, for its time, the first time it had been done kind of in comic history. It was historic. It was a big deal. And now the TV show is kind of trying to do that. And what I think is probably going to be trash. I'm just going to say that right now because I think most of that shit is trash. But
the CW shit.
but
I like it because the kids like it.
which is fine.
Yeah.
But what I think is cool is they're bringing in Brandon Routh from,
I saw that.
and he is wearing the Superman from Kingdom Come outfit, so because he's like the older Superman now, and his hair is gray and all that shit. And they showed a picture of it, and it is
looks good.
It's cool.
Looks good.
It's cool. It's a cool idea, and they're bringing in like Huntress from Birds of Prey, like the show that was on years ago. Do you remember it? It was trash.
The Nope.
It was terrible. It was like
I mean, I don't remember it was a show.
but it was
at
like a
all.
Birds of Prey. It was Huntress and Oracle. Like the whole shebang. But so anyway, I wish them the best with it. It's just it's not for me. But I think that's super fucking cool. And then we have a lot of Joker talk.
The Joker in the Robert Pattinson movie
Yes.
looked really cool.
Yes, but this is the Joaquin Phoenix.
The one that's
that's
coming
what
out
you're talking
tomorrow.
about now.
Oh, next week?
Yes.
This week? When is it? Tomorrow? 2 days from now?
Yeah, I'm going to see it. I'm going to see
I
it.
thought his name was Joaquin for the first, like,
Yeah.
when he first came on the scene. Like, everyone's like, it's Joaquin. I'm like, he's not fucking Spanish. So I felt like, what? I
tell you
said
what.
Joaquin. Everyone looked at me like I was a fucking idiot. I'm like, well, what's,
I
that's
tell you what,
fucked up.
with all this bad press and talk, if I see anybody sketchy coming into the theater, I am Joaquin out, if you know what I mean.
Is that right? Son of a fuck. Fuck, that was slick, man.
All right, so couple things. There's so much drama surrounding this, unfortunately. But the Joker premieres disinvites interview press from the Hollywood red carpet.
I don't know who they are.
Our red carpet is comprised of photographers only, a studio spokesman told Variety. A lot has been said about the Joker, and we just feel it's time for people to see the film. The Los Angeles Police Department is aware of public concerns and the historical significance associated with the premiere of Joker, said department spokesman Josh Rubenstein. While there are no credible threats in the Los Angeles area, the department will maintain high visibility around theaters when it opens. Which, okay, let me,
Which is basically like putting chum in the water. Like, hey, if you're fucked up, start thinking this way.
Warner Brothers responded with a statement of its own on Tuesday, writing that neither the fictional character Joker nor the film is an endorsement of real-world violence of any kind. It's not the intention of the film, the filmmakers, or the studio to hold this character up as a hero.
See, that doesn't need to be.
Right.
That
Did they
shouldn't have had to be
do
spoken.
the same disclaimer with Falling Down with fucking, what's his name?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, about a guy who was fucking bananas who starts whacking people on the fucking expressway. Did they need to do that then?
No, but it's all...
Which is the same type of character. I mean,
what I do wonder is, so we had this. This is obviously related to the Colorado incident, right? The
Right.
Aurora incident. But like, why didn't we hear any of this during Suicide Squad, which had a heavy Joker presence in the marketing, right?
But the marketing was more fun and lighthearted.
because Will Smith was in it.
I mean, I say it eventually got that way. The first one was pretty terrifying.
But it
started a joke.
But then it changed.
Yes,
pretty
agreed.
quickly.
Agreed.
This tone has not changed, but everything new that comes out about this movie is how disturbing and dark it is.
I think Will Smith being in the movie made it a little bit more lighthearted
Yes.
too, believe it or not,
probably.
by adding
Probably.
that
Yeah.
character person to it. Like
Probably.
he usually doesn't do something. That,
Time to save the world.
Love it.
He has to say it like in every movie. He's like, pursuit of happiness, time to save the world. I think that sometimes I do wonder if press like this, which now I am playing an equal part in, isn't doing more to perpetuate it than it is to actually.
well, that's what I mean by putting chum in
Right,
the water.
right,
I mean,
exactly.
you're actually just fucking inciting people, like
Yeah.
telling them that.
Like,
just,
I hadn't thought about that, but
if
he's
you-
right.
Yeah,
I
like
should be a fucking
Chappelle said.
maniac.
So meeting at the Sarzo, huh? Yeah, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
so. It's just it's ridiculous at its fucking base that they feel like they have to, dude. It's the Joker, dude. I mean, it's been around for 50 years. He's been around longer, 100.
Longer.
You know, I mean, everybody knows the guy's fucked up. You know, I mean, that's
He shouldn't be a hero, and he shouldn't be seen as a hero. And I do hope that this movie doesn't make. I mean, I'm glad to hear actually Warner Brothers say that their intention is not to make him be some sort of heroic.
no,
type.
but they're gonna explain his demise,
For sure.
and that's what people's
Victimize.
problems. Yeah, they're gonna make him a victim. It turns into a vigilante. It turns into a fucking criminal.
Maybe not a vigilante.
Well,
but.
well, for himself.
So here's another one. Joker costumes and makeup banned from landmark theater screenings. Just more of the drama. So, oh man. And then the last one is the South Park is doing a thing on Joker, which I haven't watched.
I'm assuming it's good because South Park really hasn't done anything wrong for me.
Comedy Central South Park, known for pushing the boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. The season premiere, Mexican Joker, kicks it up a notch by mixing themes of illegal immigration, detention centers, and how the police actually help create criminals while using some of Trump's policies as a narrative driver. The end result is a terrorist threat that's way more twisted than DC's Joker. Now DC's clown Prince of Crime is pretty reprehensible. Readers are always battling in the comments section of comics message boards over whether or not Batman is responsible for keeping the Joker train running, and South Park dives right into that debate, with Kyle making it perfectly clear that he believes poor overwatch in the justice system is what creates such monsters. In a parallel with the real world, South Park, U.S. immigration, et cetera, all the kind of political stuff. So, I don't know. I hope... I'm seeing it, so I hope that night goes off without a hitch specifically. But
you know,
fuck everybody else.
But I was supposed to meet you for that night when they had the Batman screening. I was coming out here with Jack.
Yeah.
And we were going to see the premiere of Batman, if you remember.
What was it? BVS?
It was the one with what's his name? Heath Ledger.
Was it?
Yeah. So we were coming down here, and it started raining. We were coming for the midnight viewing.
For the midnight viewing, right. It started raining.
It was raining buckets, and you see my fucking ride. You know what I mean? I had my head out the window like fucking Ace Ventura, like we're gonna go see this thing, and I'm like, so I had to turn around. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Jack, we're not gonna make it, and I know he was disappointed in this thing, and he loves coming here and stuff. So I'm like, all right, so. I found a viewing in Westminster, at midnight. So we were early coming here for the midnight show, so we had some downtime before we were going to the midnight viewing, and we went, and went back to the house at like 3 a.m, whatever, and played Arkham. We were playing Arkham in the house. It was great,
Right. But
then the fucking, it changed the input, and the news came on, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what a disaster, and obviously. But I remember that, these crazy things that stick out in your head, how, I get the concern, but it doesn't have to be centered around Joker. I mean, people go crazy at fairs and.
Well, Joe brought up a great point last week that's been haunting me, where he said, "Is this movie only being shown in America? Was The Dark Knight only shown in America? Is this the only place where something like that happened? And if so, let's find then obviously it's not the movie that's the problem.
Of course it's not. Though.
Of course it's not. But then more importantly." Let's work on identifying what the problem is. Mm-hmm.
Specific to our society,
right?
I mean, the problem is that people can't separate fact from fiction now, or people.
But it's just this country, apparently.
In regard to this,
in regard to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
in regard to theater shootings.
Well, I mean, and you could
shootings in general.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that.
I don't know either. I'm just asking as a question.
But all of these stories are also strictly to this country too. I mean, Joker wasn't written in any other country.
No, I'm saying, but like
the gun. You saying the gun problem?
No, I'm saying, but comic books are available worldwide.
Yes, but they originate here.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yes.
I mean, I know there's other shit out there, but all these characters have.
What if maybe it's a gun problem, but maybe it's also the way that we handle mental health. Maybe it's a plethora of things. Maybe it's multifaceted, but whatever it is does seem to be specific to us. In that regard, where no other theater was shot up.
Yeah, and the thing is too,
and it's not the first one, right? Wasn't there other?
I mean, we get shootings all the time.
Wasn't there other theater shootings? Not for Dark Knight, but since then.
Yeah, and instead of the media focusing on the evilness of Joker or whatever, or the reason why he did, why don't they use this as a teaching lesson? Like, hey, watch this movie and learn how not to fucking treat people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who are?
Well, I think that we have a tendency to scapegoat, right? Like, Marilyn Manson's responsible for Columbine, and Joker's responsible for Aurora, and you know what I mean, on and on and on and on.
I mean, they brought up the video game debate like fucking a couple months ago.
Correct.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And the Columbine thing, I feel very strongly about, especially. I feel like the movie Heathers was a big fucking precursor to what happened at Columbine. If you see, and that's where the hypocrisy of Hollywood comes in. Like, it's like, did you ever see the movie Heathers? It great fucking movie in the 90s with Christian Slater and shit like that. But he goes and he shoots up the fucking school, and he has a bomb at the fucking in the boiler room at the end of the school. And this was before that shit. And I even think, if I'm not mistaken, that they even fucking mentioned that thing in their manifesto, that fucking movie.
Really?
And this was before anyone even thought about doing that shit. You know what I mean? And Christian Slater, it was really, I love the movie. I mean, but it was a more typical '90s movie. Had the weird fucking darkness
but
to
it gets broader though, right? Because like, has anybody ever painted on a cave wall a tunnel that went through the cave wall in the hopes that somebody chasing them would run into the cave? You know what I mean? Has anybody ever taken a big mallet and hit it over the head of something because they saw Tom do it to Jerry or whatever? Like, I do think that there is something about how we pawn off influence on other things instead of looking at the specific scenario. I think that we have this tendency to sort of want to demonize one thing in order to have a clear-cut villain. Because similar to what Chappelle said, it's only scary when you start to think about it, what if it's my kid? Not only as the victim, but as the victimizer. Of
course.
Right?
Because then you have to self-reflect. Like, what the fuck did I do wrong?
Correct. And God forbid, what did I do wrong as opposed to what the video games did or Marilyn Manson did.
Because nobody wants to self-reflect, you know what I mean? And
yelling at your kids at a basketball game?
Yeah.
Stop it.
And in all honesty, man, when you peel back the onion on a lot of these people who do fucked up shit, like how the fuck, you go back to Colin Moore, how the fuck do you not know this kid has an arsenal in your fucking garage? Right. How do you not you never even check in like, hey man, what's up with that trench coat? It's 90 fucking degrees.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. You know, like not one fucking how you doing or anything. And that's, to me, that's the core, the basis, the core of everything. I mean, parenting, involvement in parenting, and a lot of these people, from what I'm guessing, look, you know, a lot of people feel fucking marginalized and isolated, and then fucking that fucking trigger sparks off, and they're off,
right?
You know, and instead of avoiding every topic, like what happened to the Joker, this is just somebody's freaking idea of what, you know, of what they think happened to this guy. Something, if you read the character, something happened to this fucking guy.
Yeah, even if they don't tell you what happened.
And that was kind of the lore of it, right?
Yeah, you just assume something's fucked up with this guy.
Well, that's kind of the beauty of Batman and the Joker, is that they are both the sum of one bad day. You know, theoretically, you know, and one goes entirely one direction and one goes entirely the other direction, but it's kind of the fortitude of you and how you view the world that kind of guides your life. And I think that this movie is going to deal largely with the gap of class. Right?
See, I feel like the Joker is a victim of a series of events. I think a guy like Batman.
In the comics, it was his wife getting killed.
It was Joker's wife.
Yeah.
See, from what I read something the other day that they were going to
mob killed her.
Oh, okay. See, I thought there was no really clear-cut origin story, and now I heard they're coming up with one with the White Knight with the.
Well, so there's that gets more complex than we should for the basis of this conversation. But for years and years and years, it pretty much followed the Killing Joke, which was Alan.
Jack said that. My son was telling me that
Alan Moore's Joker story, and it's fantastic.
Right.
It ends. It's one of the best scenes in comics fucking ever. It ends with Batman and Joker. Batman is called Joker, and Joker's like, this whole thing reminds me of a joke, and Batman says, let's hear it. And Joker says, 2 inmates from an insane asylum escape, and they head to the roof. And they're going to make their escape, but they can't get down from the roof. They can only get to the next rooftop, but it's too far to jump. So one inmate says, well, I'll turn on my flashlight, and you walk across the light, and then I'll throw the flashlight to you when you get to the other side of the other building. You turn the flashlight on, then I'll walk across the light. And the first one says, what are you, insane? You'll turn it off when I'm halfway there. And Batman starts laughing. And it's like the first time that Joker makes him laugh, and they kind of see that they are the 2 crazy ones, you know? But like in that story, Joker's pregnant wife is killed because he fucks up he's a struggling comedian and he fucks up some shit with the mob. And he ends up falling in the vat of chemicals, and
he did fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's murdered, and all of this sort of happens, and he's the Joker. But they've played around with that ever since, and even when it was created, there was an argument as to whether or not it was canon or just sort of a fun story to tell. But just that concept of like, you know, something impacts you so greatly that it changes who you are, but it doesn't. Not to say that Batman is the greatest of examples, but it doesn't always have to change you to be an absolute homicidal sociopath. You know, it can change you to fight for some version of good. But I do think that this movie is going to deal largely with the gap in classes, like the haves and the have-nots. like because he's obviously living in an apartment with his mom, and there's a connection to the Waynes, So here's the billionaires, and then the people struggling on day-to-day life. And to me, the more important conversation to have from that is that conversation, but not the fucking antics, not the drama of it, like the real world side of it. The drama. We don't have mass shootings in every theater experience all the time. Like we don't have characters like the Joker in a high abundance in this country or anywhere really. But we do have very, very rich people, and we do have very, very poor people, and we do have a great distance between the two. And let's have that conversation.
Well, but the tinfoil hat time is like people who are in power, people who are in charge, people who are haves don't want to talk about that shit. So you're not going to hear about that shit from anything mainstream. You're going to hear right here. But
you're
not going to see a big article about that shit unless it's like fucking some super left wing thing.
And that's true. And who is going to be? What's the clickbait of that? That's another thing. Like tinfoil hat wise, I'm like, Joker discusses the class system. How many clicks does that get versus all the theaters are going to be shot to pieces?
Right.
It's like, oh, I'll click on to make sure I'm not getting shot to pieces.
I just want to know, what do you guys think of the movie? Like, what are your? I mean, forget about all the
the shit surrounding it.
I can't wait.
So look, I have a bad feeling about it.
Do you?
I do. Something about it. We talked about it a bit last week, but something about it doesn't feel like the Joker to me. And I don't know if it's the makeup. I don't know if it's the very limited performance that we've seen. But something about it doesn't feel like the Joker to me. I did hear one cool thing about it. Variety. Somebody did an interview with them recently, and they said that his laugh is like a nervous tick. So like when he's anxious or he's uncomfortable, then like he's like, look, I'm sorry I spilled the I'm sorry I spilled the, you know what I mean? That's cool to me.
I thought that was crazy. I read the same thing.
That's cool
and like he laughs at inappropriate times, like through pain.
Because he's uncomfortable or he's
physical
awkward.
Pain, and they mentioned,
yeah.
So like when Batman's fucking tearing him up and he's laughing at times.
That's wise. Yeah. That's cool. But I don't know if it's the face paint, dude. I don't know what it is.
See, I was wondering if this was going to be like if they already planned on making sequels. And
they haven't.
So I was wondering. Yeah, okay. So that answers that because I was talking to my son about it, who didn't like Heath Ledger's Joker. He felt like that didn't feel like Joker. He likes Joker from Arkham.
That's the best one.
Yeah, that's Joker to him.
Yeah,
and
he's not wrong.
Else, he's not wrong. I even though I tried to explain to him why he is, how awesome that is. Yeah. But whatever. But the thing is, to me, Joker's like that aristocratic Joker. Is that what it's called? The aristocrats?
Yeah.
Where everybody who takes it on has their own fucking version of it, which is kind of really cool in that aspect.
Yeah, I agree.
See what that guy brings to the table.
Yeah. And he's such a malleable character. You know what I mean? That like he does, if you pour him into here, he does kind of become this. And if you, like
that makes sense. Yeah, and that's what So the thing was for me when I thought maybe, okay, this is going to be the first one. Where almost like when Batman wore a fucking ski mask and a jumpsuit, and then all of a sudden, and then he grows, and then like the next one. He's fucking really. He's starting to He's craft like a serial killer gets better at what the fuck they do, and they get harder to catch.
But
so he becomes something, and he morphs from that basic thing.
So there's no plan for a sequel, but the director has said that he loved working with Mr. Phoenix so much.
Who I think is a good actor.
He is. His head looks like a face, but his forehead looks like a face.
He's got that lip thing too.
Yeah, he's got that going on. Yeah. What's up with that?
He's a character.
Yeah. He might turn into the Joker.
Look, I'm more so worried about that scar.
Yeah.
Not all the scars. That scar.
Joaquin Phoenix went fucking crazy on the set. We were talking about his lip.
So anyway, but he said, look, there was no plans to do a sequel. There's nothing contractually to do a sequel, but whatever this dude wants to do, I'm down to do it with him. So if he wants to do a sequel, I'm in.
So maybe that was really, just freaking brainstorm. Maybe that was his plan. Like, I'm going to start him off like this because I plan on going to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that ultimately is it, but I don't know, man. So like, here's another thing. We talked about this briefly last week, but you know who's talking to me about this movie? Large and, what is it, by and large? Normies. it's not the nerds that are talking about this thing. It's like all the regular guys that aren't normally into this. And I'm like, the same reason it's resonating for you, I think might be the reason it's missing me. I think this might be the Joker for normies.
I don't think so.
I hope you're right. And I'm going. I got my tickets. Because like, isn't fucking Scorsese involved in this shit at some level? I think he's like produced it or something. Like,
I think a lot of talk of this movie is being talked about on normie platforms.
Maybe
that's why normies are out there looking at. That's why normies are because they're watching the regular news, and then all of a sudden
it's playing during Monday Night Football.
Exactly, and a lot of the daytime shows that people watch or whatever.
Maybe
it's coming up in mainstream topics, and they're going way off the topic of how good is this movie going to be or whatever. They went right to the fucking bad place, and really tapped into everybody's fucking fears of what's going on now. And they went right to that.
Right.
They didn't even give it a fucking chance out of the gate. They tried tried like what they did to Chappelle. I mean, I know it's a weird fucking segue, but like, Chappelle fucking, they trashed that fucking show before most people got to even see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And whatever. So you are already,
you're poised to hate.
You're poised to hate.
It didn't work though.
It didn't work because, and I don't think it's going to work here either. As long as no one does anything fucking crazy and buys into what the fuck they're trying to.
No, people are into this. People want to see this shit. Like, it's really in the normies' minds.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of normies.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see what Joaquin Phoenix's vision of the Joker is because it's all internal.
And I would say that there's more normie attraction to this than there was to Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were you getting ready to say? I cut you off.
I'm not sure there's going to be a sequel based on. I don't think Joaquin Phoenix is a sequel kind of guy.
I don't think so
He's
either.
He's an artist. He's like a real actor. I don't think he wants to visit the same character twice.
But he might not.
Which is a good thing because he'll never do that rap guy again. The bearded rap guy.
Okay.
But he might see it as a totally different character morphing. He might see it as something.
Yeah, you never know.
This might be where he's like, it's not the same guy from that.
But I don't think he's motivated by the bag.
But money, no.
No, absolutely
I think he has fuck you money.
Yeah.
That's why he was a good guy to play Johnny Cash. Because, but that's what I think if he sees this person as not as a sequel, but more of like a metamorphosis, because it's strictly face paint. It's not a vat of fucking whatever. So. Basically,
and it's not a scar. It's, aside from that one,
right? What would somebody do if they were starting out? It would be basic, and it would be fucking juvenile because they don't really understand what they are turning into yet. Then the next one shows. Now I'm becoming this thing. And
how much of the film do you think he spends in his underwear? I feel like there's a lot of scenes with him in his underwear in this movie.
I think they're showing that lankiness and that fucking.
Do you think a lot of it? Do you think 25%?
I don't know.
It seems like a lot.
Is that right?
I think it might be 50-50.
He definitely sucked some weight to fucking get into character, man. I mean.
Well, he's a vegan. It probably didn't take much. He's like, I'm cutting out the lettuce.
I'm just very curious. I'm kind of annoyed at the whole fucking life that it took on.
Yeah, I am
itself.
too. I am too because it jades it and it overshadows it. And DC is my love, next to Star Wars. And
I know it is.
And I hate for it to be overshadowed by something that it doesn't necessarily have any control over.
And DC needs a win.
Yes.
I mean, this might still be this might still be in the no press is bad press. It
could be.
It's generating buzz for sure.
It's buzzworthy for sure.
So it might just help it if nothing else.
A lot of people just might go see it.
Everybody's talking about it. I feel like I feel like more people generally are talking about this than any other movie this year, and that's to include Game of Thrones, Endgame, and Skywalker. Like, I feel like I'm hearing more about this movie than any of those three. And by all means, those three should have been discussed more.
Well, to me, I think the face paint is very interesting, man, because you look at this movie.
What about I think the scar is very interesting.
The scar is hard. It's hard to not look at. So maybe he figures.
He's like, my eyes are up here.
What are you looking at, man?
I got something in my teeth.
He's like, no, I'm deaf. I read lips, man. What the fuck? I'm waiting for busting my fucking hearing, man. Now I'm gonna fucking paint my face. We're rolling around with headphones and fuck everybody up. But the thing is that face paint. When you see it, especially as a fan and even not a fan, you're like, oh, that's the new Joker. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, wait, because if you would have seen the ones that you're used to seeing, you're like, oh, I've seen that.
But let me say,
you know what I mean?
let me say this: I'm not 100% happy with Leto's Joker, right? But I don't hate Leto's Joker either. I don't hate it. It's just by and large not my favorite.
I don't like him.
Yeah,
Which I don't like him either.
Yeah.
I don't like him either.
Right.
But when I saw the face paint with the tattoos, the whole bit, the whole shebang, I was like, "That's the Joker."
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
When I saw this, that's not what jumped out in my mind.
Right.
You know, and that is what I think is a major component of what's turning me off is that it doesn't look instantly recognizable to me as the Joker.
Which might be
Which might be its allure. It might be its charm.
And
It
why
might
the
be.
normies who've seen different shit. Like I thought his Leto's. I'm pointing at my figures, but But I thought his was really fucking interesting looking.
Yeah.
and the way he acted, like he was definitely unfucking predictable.
Yeah, well, see, that is. I'm glad you brought that up because that to me is key with the Joker is that you cannot predict what he's going to do. And
when Harley was climbing all over that dude's lap, you're like, "What the fuck is going to happen right now?" And he was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and I think that there's something about Joker where it should make you physically uncomfortable.
Yes.
And like, so there's a couple scenes that stand out to me when in Dark Knight. During the whole like, are you the real Batman? You're not. Well, why do you dress up like it? You know, like and you know, it's like
weird
like,
touching.
Oh. you know, and then in Suicide Squad when he's like when he like there's that security guard or whatever and he like mounts the dude like the dude's sitting in the chair and like Leto like sits down on top of him like I'm uncomfortable
like a weird fucking possessed
thing.
thing.
It's like I'm gonna kill you or I'm gonna
kiss you.
You know, like it was one or the other, and that's what makes Joker fucking fascinating. You know,
and that's what I loved about Heath Ledger was when he would snap into normalcy when he fucking let her go and he's like.
Very poor choice of words.
Yeah, like all of a sudden he just became some smart ass in a fucking bar, you know, and he like,
Dude,
I can change gears on you like that.
One of my other favorites is when he's waiting for the bombs to blow up on the boats, right? And he's like, and here we go, and then nothing happens, and he like looks down at Batman, and he's like, we have to do everything ourselves. Don't we? Like he sees them as one and the same. You know, like
you dress up like a nutcase and fucking did the cop's job.
Like you know how it is. I'm gonna have to take care of this. The same way the cops don't take care of it for you, and you feel like you got to take care of it. I left it up to these fucking jackals in this boat, and now they fucked it up. I got to take care of them now. Like
he was great on so many fucking levels, man. It was like, and just his size, like because he was also imposing.
Yeah,
you know.
I was thinking about Hamill's Joker. You know, in the Arkham games and such, in the animated series. One of my favorite bits is, what was it, the Arkham Origins or Arkham City? I can't remember. Where it's Arkham City. Joker's free, but he says he's infected by some virus and it's like eating away at his skin. And Batman's
infected too, isn't he?
Well, he gets infected. Okay. But Batman goes to save him. And then he falls into Joker's trap. And then he realizes it. And Batman's like, you were lying about all of it. There's nothing wrong with you. And then Joker's like, nice of you to say, Bats. But you and I both know there's plenty wrong with me.
Oh, shit.
I love that. You know, like.
I gotta play that again.
It's so good.
That's awesome. Yeah. And his voice is sick,
it's perfect.
Man.
It's perfect.
Mean, and that's, and like I said, that's my boy's guy, man.
It's the best.
It is.
It's the best. It's the all-around best. It may not be the most impactful. Like, Ledger's is probably the most impactful. Like, I feel like people like it's part of pop culture. Like how I got these scars. Like you hear people
3 different stories.
Yeah, but you still hear people like I'll hear people that aren't connected to this shit at all, and I'm like, "What happened to your arm, man?" But you want to know how I got these scars? You know, like it's like part of the ether. It's like I am your father. It's like part of the vernacular of American culture. But if you're looking at the character who did best by the character, longest run, et cetera, like it's Hamill. It's Hamill's Joker for sure. All right. I'm going to cover this Star Wars news real quick before we move into the Q&A, and then we'll wrap it up. Feige and Iger, or Feige Frogman 78. That's my guy. All right. So, rumor has it that Kevin, you know his name, is going to be working on a Star Wars movie. Now, so he's the guy behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, okay.
So I think that people are supposed to rejoice over that. And I'm not anti. You know how I feel. Star Wars is like pizza. It only tastes but so bad. I'm not excited. And let me tell you why. I'm not excited because, by and large, that's my word for today, apparently, I find Marvel movies to be very formulaic. Doesn't mean they don't work, but I find them to be very formulaic.
Okay.
If there's one thing I want to get away from with Star Wars, it's following the formula. Like, which is the reason why I like the movies that I feel like break the formula a little bit. Rogue One breaks the formula a little bit. Last Jedi breaks the film a little bit, the formula. That's where I want to go. Mm-hmm. I feel like 7 and Solo follow the formula.
Yes.
And I am concerned that Fig Newton will follow the formula and it'll feel very safe and won't push that franchise the way I want to see it pushed.
I mean, it's hard to. Yes, I agree with you, but like you can understand why
of course,
you don't want to push.
Of course, because every time they push it, people complain.
And it's the flagship.
Correct. So I get it. I understand it, but it doesn't excite me. Is what I'm trying to kind of get to the bottom of. What do you think?
He doesn't like any of it anyway.
He doesn't like anything since Empire.
No.
He doesn't even like Empire that much.
No,
he loves Empire.
I love, but the love for Empire is so great that it'll keep me watching the other ones as much as I get mad at it. You know what I mean? It was like it was like I don't know, like an ex that was really hot once, and then you just like like I told you, like you can't hurt me anymore. You're a mess now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but I'll still keep tabs on what's going on.
Going to see a Star Wars movie for you is like checking your ex's Facebook.
Yeah, I guess if I had one, that's probably what it would be like. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like,
who are you with now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that fucking poor bastard.
You're not happy, are you? Because I'm working on me.
Way to connect it all. You know, it's just like, and almost at its core, like when it fails, you're almost happy. You're like, ha. Yeah. You know.
It didn't work out for you.
Yeah, it didn't. I told you I was going to get my shit together. And
I was the best you ever had. You know it.
I'm better.
I hear you. So there's another side to this, right? So the other side to this is Bob Iger, who's ultimately in control. You know, even though Bob Iger is the Disney guy that handles Lucasfilm.
Yes.
He's just not as much fun to put a bullseye on as Kathy Kennedy has become.
Mm-hmm.
So he has written some sort of memoir, and in his memoir, it's being promoted clickbaity wise as Bob Iger regrets not following Lucas's vision. Mm. It's not entirely accurate. What he says in this memoir is when they bought Star Wars from Lucas, that he thinks, and he's pretty confident, that Lucas was under the impression that they would be following his notes for the sequel trilogy. And from his point of view, because you'll find that many things come down to your point of view. From his point of view, the Jedi were evil. No, from his point of view,
This is Lucas's point of view?
No, Lucas's point of view was that I'm going to sell you this and you're going to kind of follow my notes here.
Okay.
And Bob Iger's point of view was, you're going to sell this to me, and I'm going to read your notes and take them into consideration.
But do whatever the fuck we want.
But ultimately, we're going to do whatever we want. So he says he regrets not so much not following his notes. He regrets not being super clear that the notes weren't the Bible for them. Right. That if it clicked, they would have followed it. But had it not clicked, they weren't going to follow it. But it's just something that's been skewed in the headlines that I read them. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to kind of clarify that. At least that's how I interpreted what was being said.
And who's to say he had fucking good notes?
Yeah. Well, you can read a little bit about Lucas's sequel trilogy. It's wild.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he was out of control.
Yeah, you want to push the envelope? He'll push it for you.
He started dropping acid somewhere.
It dealt heavily with the midichlorians and like getting down to like the molecular level of the midichlorians and how they affect things.
What did you think of the midichlorians?
I think it takes the magic out of Star Wars. It's another reason. It's another reason why I like The Last Jedi, because Luke, at the end, when his legend is being told and those kids are in that little fucking horse pen cleaning up and they're playing with figures of Luke, and he's like, I'm Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master. Da, 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 da. So at the end of the movie...
You don't want to remember the good parts. You want to remember how it's trash.
Yeah, right.
You remember the horses?
Right.
You remember the horses? Like the little horse things they escaped out on through the... Okay, well...
I got to watch it again.
Okay, so at the end of the movie, there's children that they keep care of the horse pens. They clean up the horse shit and all that kind of stuff. And they're playing with these little stick figures made of straw that the horses are sleeping in. And this one kid is like, I'm Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master. I'm taking on... They're like, I'm the First Order. Like, oh, go down. Like, like they're playing because the legend has spread across the galaxy. And then the owner comes in and is like, whatever the fuck. And
Sounds just like that. Very good.
Whatever it is means like, stop fucking around, kids, and get back to work. So the kid walks outside and just goes like this, and a broom flies into his hand. And then he's holding the broom, and it's giving me the fucking chills talking about it. He's holding the broom. It looks like a lightsaber, and he looks up to the stars. And it's like, that's it. Luke has turned back on hope. Luke has turned back on faith. And it kind of brings that magic back. Like, you don't necessarily have to have all these midichlorians work right out to, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be something you're born into. Because that's the beauty of it, right? When you were a kid, and your pencil was 10 feet from you, and you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to get up for that thing. So you you do this, and you're like, dude, maybe this shit will work.
Yeah.
I still do it. Shit.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the Force, is that anybody could be a Jedi, right? And the midichlorians kind of steal that from you, because you're either genetically prone to it or not. And then I feel like Last Jedi kind of undid that.
That's where the break started happening for me. I was like, what?
I agree with...
I think it might have been a Sith Lord. Maybe? You think?
Was it the black robe?
Yeah, right.
What about the red lightsaber? You know any Jedi that have those?
Right. Somebody missed Sith Lord 101, asshole. I mean, what the fuck? He fights like you. He's mean. He fucking... what the fuck?
He looks like Satan.
Yeah, right. Get together, Qui-Gon. What the fuck, man? How you been doing the last 20 years? You're the fucking guy? Oh, my God. And they had to bail him out of that one, too, man. It's like, dude, you were getting fucked up.
Oh God!
I like that. I don't like the midichlorian thing. I don't like the genetic component because like it takes away the magic, right?
Right.
But how else would they have shown that Anakin was created to be a Force power thing?
Go for it. He put the ball in the tee for you. Go ahead and have your Anakin rant.
Oh my God, I don't even know where to begin. I'm like, oh my God.
One of the things that
because
Gary,
that's easy to explain, right? Like, well,
so one of the
was
things
created to be real sensitive by these fucking whatever
correct.
mitochondria.
So mitochondria. So one of the things, like, I think they could have done that with just the miracle birth. You know what I mean? Like, I think that could have been enough. But Gary has this argument that he's been sticking to forever, and I'm a subscriber.
Okay.
I'm a subscriber to his argument, is that they didn't do enough to show Anakin's second nature skill and ability. That in the scene that he often points out is when he's killing all of the separatists.
Oh.
And the battle droid fires a shot, and he doesn't even look at him. He just throws the blade behind his back and deflects it and kind of keeps it moving. That is a display of just raw talent. Mm-hmm. And they don't necessarily do a great job. But maybe had they shown that this kid is just has this natural ability, like this kid on my.
I was just gonna say your basketball kid.
Like this kid on my kid's basketball
out there.
team.
All right, they are out there, man. And like I was thinking about because I was thinking about the same people when I wanted to see that fucking anger. I wanted to see it, and I wanted to see where, like we said, when talent meets fucking anger and look the fuck out. All right, I have a whole scene in my head how that should have fucking went down. It's like with Chewie fucking mangling people, but so. Yes, and they tried to do that with the fucking pod race,
yes,
with the fucking
terrible.
Muppet announcers, where you go back to Muppet and you're sitting there and the tears are rolling down my face. Like, what the fuck is happening right now, man? It was like the Laugh Olympics. Like, oh look, he steers the shit out of that thing. It's like, what the fuck,
Did you call it the Laugh Olympics?
Yeah, it was a TV show in the 70s.
Okay.
In the 70s.
No,
you remember the Laugh Olympics?
I know of it, but I was just making sure I heard
Yogi
it right.
Berra, all those freaking cartoons, the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the influence for that. I mean, without a doubt. I do. I honestly do. I think that's where, because he's a nut. Lucas is a nut.
Yes.
You know, and like he'll
Hanna-Barbera, that's what I'm thinking
he'll
of.
take something like that. It's the same thing like Christopher Lee. Like the dude had a hard on for Christopher Lee. Asajj Ventress, the bald headed chick, she was supposed to be the bad guy in episode 2. And when he went to all these artists have all these drawings of Star Wars characters all over the wall for like Sith Lords. Every single one of them looks fucking badass.
Right.
Like I can't wait to buy the figure of every single one of them. And Lucas walks up and points to Asajj and says, "That's it. That's our villain." And they're like, "Cool." And he's like, "It's either this or someone completely different played by Christopher Lee."
You know, and that was a great scene. Like Christopher Lee got the death he fucking deserved, and that was awesome.
And
you know,
I think his character is interesting. I think Dooku is an interesting character. He's just not a badass character.
right. But going back to Anakin's ability, when he took his fucking hands off in that one fucking slice, and it came around and took his head, that was fucking
and grabbed the blade like
sick. Yeah, you're like, yes. You know, that's what, all right, I'm watching again. You know, and like didn't even kill him, and then Palpatine was just like smiled at him.
my man said Palpatine.
What's his name?
Palpatine.
Palpatine, yeah, Palpatine. Excuse me,
Teen-
kid.
Teen is mean.
You know, yeah. Fucking yeah.
Teen is mean.
He was-
Time is fine.
I don't get the reference, but I have an idea where it's going.
So there's like two Weinsteins. There's like Weinstein and Weinstein.
Yeah.
Weinstein is mean. Weinstein is
Oh,
fine.
okay, a
That's how you can keep them in your head.
Okay, there you go. All right, you know, but Palpatine, that's Palpatine. He's gonna force choke me and kill me and be like, "Say my name right, motherfucker." You know, but you know when he Palpatine, how do you say it?
Palpatine.
Palpatine. When he fucking switched and he looked at Dooku and he's like, "Kill him," and he's smiling at him, and fucking Dooku's like, "What the fuck?" Kill him now. That was some of the best shit. Yeah. That scene right there when he smiled at him was like, "You fucked up."
I'll tell you, you know, having watched those movies recently, Revenge of the Sith, the Yoda line that he gets off in that shit, when he lands in front of Palpatine. Palpatine's on his way out trying to get away,
right.
and Yoda pulls the lightsaber out, and he's like, "If so powerful you are, why leave?"
Yeah.
I'm like, talk your shit.
Right. Yeah. Nice. There was some freaking bright spots, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, when he fucking took those hands and then came right into the head, you're like, yeah, you know, and
it has a little bit of that, like when he looks down on him, like, you know, like he is judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was good. All right. Not to get too caught up in that, but we could do Star Wars any day you want. But Iger
I'd love
covered
to tell
all
you
that.
my Sand People scene that I have in my head someday, man, because it's fucking awesome.
Go for it.
What will we reenact it? Get a bunch of bros together, throw some robes on.
All right, going for it?
Yeah, go for it.
So he comes out of the tent, right? Mm-hmm. And everything fucking just shifts to slow motion, right? And smoke starts coming up and strobe music starts fucking playing, and fucking he starts going fucking bananas. All right, just fucking just hacking at people, man. And I want him to hit this one guy in the head. I want him to take the head off, and as he takes the head off, I want him to spin and hit his head like a baseball and just send it into fucking oblivion.
Send it.
Yeah,
Send it.
Yeah. And as like Darth Vader's breathing is slowly in the background, that you hear him in the mask, like what he's fucking become, what he's gonna be later on, like just subtly hearing that fucking breathing in the background, man. And because they're sand people, man. Nobody gives a fuck. It's not like, you know,
Native Tatooiners.
right? You know, and just give us a fucking taste of what this guy could do. People are totally unaware of this guy's ability and the anger that he just killed his mother, dude. You killed Darth Vader's mother. Now see what the fuck
do you
happened.
think they raped her?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. Just
that's another thing I've thought in my head. Like, I wonder if they raped her.
Yeah,
Because she's like tied to the thing and the whole bit. You know, like it is a bit. It's
I thought they wanted
suggestive.
to eat her.
Maybe. I don't know. I just in my head, I'm like, man, I wonder how dark this scene really is. Like, am I picking up on all the nuance of how dark this scene is?
Yeah, and going back to how, like you said before, like how raw he is.
Yeah.
Like now he's fucking unleashed, right?
Right.
And he's fucking. He doesn't give a shit about any fucking theories, any fucking codes.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just going off ability that he doesn't even know where the fuck it's from. All right. And he like freezes somebody, fucking, freezes like 3 people as he's killing somebody with one hand and just fucking going, and he's not confined to that suit. You know what I mean? And you can see the athleticism and the fucking, and just the
ability, raw ability,
and the
talent,
and the creative way he can fuck you up, like, and he's twisted when pushed.
Yeah.
And there's what else is gonna push somebody? To me, that was the worst thing that ever fucking happened to him, regardless of any movie.
No, I agree.
So we need to see this.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
A fucking quick stroke and then cut to another scene is not gonna fucking cut it here. No pun intended.
Probably because they don't want to depict killing chitlins, the younglings.
And you know what would
you
have
don't
been
have
hard?
to add that
because he's like, I kill the women and the children too. So,
but you know what part is hard for me is that would have been to see him kill the little dogs, little sand people dogs. Like there's like little dogs that are like fighting over bones and shit.
Yeah.
Like I'd have been like, oh man, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. And even when he showed up to go find his mother, like you're starting to, like, you see the size difference, like the height and the fucking cape. Like you see
when he's standing with the Jawa. Yes, dude, I love that. His hair kind of looks like Vader's helmet, like the silhouette of it all.
And his brother or his stepbrother's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And he's just like, I'll do it. And he fucking and he's like,
and then when he comes back with the body and he's looking at him like,
yes, we needed to see a little bit of what the fuck happened there.
I'll tell you something else that I think would have been interesting to see, and I kind of feel like it's unresolved. Is okay, so he does all of this, he kills all the sand people in a fit of rage, and it's kind of like anger is taking over. He's not thinking clearly, right? And then he comes back too. But what I always to this day, maybe it's a bit much, but I think it would have been interesting to see him like hop back on that little speeder and then go straight to Watto and then fucking kill him too.
Why not?
Because
that's gangster. That's like
yes. Because you're allowing that time, right? Because we all do stuff when we're mad that we regret because we give in to that anger, right? And it's only when you sit and reflect and be like, it's not worth doing that.
After you're done,
like sometimes I've gotten so mad, I'm like, I'm doing this, and I go about getting there, and by the time I get there, it's fleeting. I'm like, whatever, it's not a big deal. I'll go back home. You know what I mean? But like with him, if he was like, nope, I'm doing all this, and then I'm getting you too, motherfucker, because you could have let her come on a ship with me.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean? Like
stupid fucking race, and then fucking dig up Qui-Gon and hack the shit out of him too, man. I need my theory on that shit. No, we'll be taking both.
He always talks about Qui-Gon.
Leaving him. Yeah.
There'll be no race at Watto. All right, you fucking nuts. You see this fucking forced fly swatter I have hanging over your fucking head right now? All right, we're taking the mother too, asshole. All right, you'll have to see her again, but we'll get her a palace or wherever the fuck we landed. All right, and she's good. All right, focus on Jedi shit. All right. Like the Jedi's are so fucking stupid. Yoda's like, you left his mother where? Are you fucking nuts? I sense fear. You think? Well, he left her in fucking chains down the fucking street, man. Of course he's fucking scared.
Oh my god.
Oh,
all right. So, a couple questions, real quick. Whew. Hey, NRR, been seeing a ton of spoilers for episode 9 lately. Since we're getting close to the premiere, per usual, the theories and spoilers are creating quite a buzz, but wondering if they're doing more harm than good. Seems like every day there's some clickbait article or crackpot theory that gets shared 40 times by every nerd news outlet that's complete speculation. Then, of course, the incel keyboard warrior brigade jumps in and just keeping the shitstorm of brewing. Incels aside, with these unfounded rumors and theories flooding social media, do you think it could turn people off to 9? I remember reading just about every spoiler for TLJ because I was hungry for info. Some were outlandish, some were bad fanfic, vast majority were just wrong. In fact, I don't think any spoiler was right, hence my surprise on how the story actually went. Wondering if spoilers undermine The Last Jedi, with people thinking it was going to go one way and based on something they read, but then angry because they were ultimately wrong. So are spoilers good? Do they cause too much confusion with bad info? Do news outlets and YouTubers just push the most ridiculous theories for likes and clicks? Hey now, ultimately damaging the brand.
Watch Friday anyway.
Curious to hear what you think. And he didn't sign his name, and it just comes up as Gmail, like in the thing. So I can't even like give him a proper name. It's our good friend Caleb. So Caleb, I feel like you're attacking my YouTube channel, buddy. I'm kidding. But so here, I think so the 9 spoilers are definitely out there now. The whole movie's out there. So here's my thing. I have it. I know it. I got it. I know what they've released. There might be extra little things, like it's not 100%, you know what I mean? But it's the skeleton of it. And I have it, and I want to do a Force Friday on it, but I've been reluctant to do so because I just don't want to hear a whole bunch of people say, this sounds dumb, And even if I agree with some of it, I think it comes down to the person. So, like, when I read The Last Jedi spoilers, so Caleb is partially right. Caleb, I know you listen to Nerd Rage, so all the ones that we reported were not all right, but a large percentage was right. We talked about the Praetorian Guard, we talked about the Porgs, we talked about the tree, we talked about a lot. We talked about the tree on fire.
Yep.
We talked about a lot here that ended up being right, but the plot for it, the actual plot for it, didn't leak until the world premiere. They kept that shit under wraps. 7 was out there. 9 is out there. So when I read the Last Jedi spoilers, when I read that, the way it was written, because somebody just writing it down, right, was that Luke sends a ghost to fight the First Order and dies. Right? That's how it was written. And I was like, well, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible.
His ghost dies?
No, Luke sends a ghost of himself, like a projection of himself, which is what he did. I mean, that's what happens. He projects himself onto Crate, fends off the First Order, allows the good guys to escape, and then he does join the Force, right? But when I read the spoiler, before I saw the movie, it was Luke sends ghost of himself to Crate and dies on Octu. And I was like, well, that sounds terrible. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's beautiful. It's not what it sounded like on paper.
It's like reading a transcript of a stand-up act.
Correct.
But it's not the same.
But I do agree with him that I do think it can potentially hurt public perception. Because if people are saying, well, now I'm not going to see this or I'm not going to have an open mind about it because I already don't like the spoiler. It's one of the things that we talked about with Endgame with me, where I wasn't upset with the spoiler information at all. That ended up being like 90% accurate. I was upset that they said the spoiler information was inaccurate.
Because you were hoping
so then I expected a totally different movie, and I got the same movie. That's what fucked me up. If Marvel would have shut the fuck up, who knows what my perception would have been. But it was the fact that they said, don't believe the spoilers, they're bullshit. And then like we're sitting there and I'm like, nope, that was in there, and this was in there, and now that was in there too. So I think it can hurt. Like there's stuff in 9 that I don't like. Reading it, I'm like, I don't like this at all. And then there's stuff that I do like, but I am going in and going to watch it because it could be different when I see it than when I'm reading it.
You know how I feel about spoilers. I fucking hate spoilers. I don't partake in it. Mm-hmm. It ruins the experience for me. But I think it is up to an individual's responsibility to not fucking ruin it for themselves.
That's true.
And you're okay with it, Bobby. So you read them, and it's fine.
Right.
It doesn't ruin it for you. So if I went to read spoilers and then I get upset, that's my own goddamn fault.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was actually surprised that you read. Do you have to read spoilers just for the show's purposes?
No, he loves that shit.
Yeah.
Star Wars only.
Okay.
So
you got Endgame
because
too.
Adam read them to me. I'm down for it, but I would never look for that. I would never look for Endgame.
Like me and Chris, we're like, shut up, don't say that.
Correct.
We end the show. We're like, don't talk anymore.
Or what about surprise spoilers? We're like, remember when we were on our way to mopping school? You're like, Chris dies in freaking The Sopranos. Oh. I was like, I didn't see it yet. I was like banging my head on the fucking dashboard.
And I told you about my Dark Knight Rises one. Dude, I think about it all the time. I get fucking hot, and you get hot inside. You think about something terrible you did. I'm walking out of. I was trying to quit smoking. I'm walking out of Dark Knight Rises, and I was like, I need a fucking cigarette. And I beelined right to this kid, and I was like, you got another one? Yeah. And he was like, yeah, buddy, I got you. And he handed me the cigarette. He paid for these cigarettes. I didn't pay for these cigarettes. He's going to give me a gift.
That's fine.
He's giving me you have definitely 100%. I've given you many cigarettes. You've given me 2 cigarettes.
Someone's always got one.
So he hands me a cigarette. I need a lighter because I'm trying to quit smoking. He hands me the lighter. I'm using both of his tools to get my gratification. I hand him back his lighter, and I'm like, I really thought they were going to kill him, man. I'm so happy they didn't kill him. And he's like, well, at least I won't have to worry. I'm getting ready to see it in a half hour.
Oh, shit. Oops. I thought you were coming out, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because he's smoking too. You thought he'd been through the same shit you were going through.
Exactly. But yeah, with Star Wars, I hunt it down. I need to know, and I don't need to know everything. Like Mandalorian, I've kind of been jading myself from that a bit. Like I don't need to know everything that's going to go on in Mandalorian. Like I'm down to just sit down and enjoy that. Star Wars, I can't even imagine a world where there's information out there and I don't know it. Like I need to know.
You'll know.
There are Christmas presents in the attic.
I'm
and
what am I not going to look? Of course. The first time you fucking go to the grocery store, I'm on my way out.
But you'll know when the time comes when you actually watch the movie.
Yeah, just like you'll know Christmas morning, but it's not going to stop me from getting into those gifts right now.
I don't have that feeling.
Yeah, me neither. Man.
Just with Star Wars.
Because I would just be ruining it for me.
Yeah, just with Star Wars. I have to know. And I don't need to know everything. Like what happens with like Finn and Janna and all these characters, like surprise me.
Because they suck.
No. It's not even that. Because I'm actually a Finn fan. But
Really?
Finn fan.
I'll tell you why.
But which one's Finn?
Black guy.
Black guy.
Oh, he's all right. It's the pilot I can't fucking.
Yeah. So the pilot is the one I need more information on.
Oh, yeah.
For this movie, I need them to make him special somehow.
Well, I thought you were playing Uncharted. He looks just like that guy.
That's true.
No, he
Nathan
doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He's
Yes,
wearing
he
the same clothes.
He's
man.
wearing the exact
Same
same outfit.
Oh, outfit, but he doesn't. Yeah.
So look.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Now I'm not playing it anymore, man.
what I like about Finn, and I've said this just recently, is like he goes in the beginning of Force Awakens. He's a guy that's part of a organization that he's not willing to kill for, right? And he goes from that.
Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's not willing to kill for it.
Yeah,
He
gotcha.
can't, and he goes from that to being part of another organization that he's willing to die for. I just like that arc.
Yeah. I like his
I-
character.
okay,
I was getting him confused. I was
with
thinking,
Poe. Yeah. Okay. So like I don't really care what happens with Poe. I don't care what happens with Finn. I don't care what I care, but I don't need to know. I need to know, like Rey and fucking Kylo and Palpatine. I need to know. I need to know. I can't.
I got you.
I can't have it. I need to know.
Yeah.
So, but it's the only thing that I'm like that with. Most everything else, I'm kind of like take or leave. Like, because spoilers don't ruin movies for me, because it's always different seeing it than it is hearing it. But I need to know. Okay,
But
so then
clickbait will be clickbait. People are going to do it. I mean, that's just a thing that's going to happen now. People are just going to make shit up. You just have to know to decipher bullshit from real. And anytime you're reading fucking spoilers anyway, just assume it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, why would you think that this fucking guy knows what's going to happen?
right, except like when the sources are like pretty valid though.
I got the whole Empire Strikes Back spoiler for me when I was like 9. And my next door neighbor seen it first and told me fucking everything. My father was pissed. I was like, I knew Darth Vader's his father and all this shit. And I was eating it up because I hadn't seen it yet. And I didn't realize he fucked up the whole movie for me because I was too young to realize he shouldn't have done that. But that's Return of the
now you
Jedi,
know.
rather.
Like
Empire. Sorry.
there's something about 9 that like I won't spoil it, but like if the spoiler is true, the whole Mary Sue argument gets it the fuck out of here. It's out of here. You know what I mean? Like it's no longer valid, and like and it's actually a double whammy. It's like this and this makes it completely makes sense. But I have to find somebody, Joe, that's willing to come on this show and discuss it now. So
Neither of us or Chris.
Yeah. So I'm
Drag your wife into it.
So
she doesn't-
you'll
she
give
doesn't
out
wanna do it.
spoilers on the show. And,
Oh yeah, I usually do.
is that-
Adam and I used to. We get to a certain point where we'd be like, okay, now we're gonna go into spoilers. We count down, to let people click off.
And we always...
Yeah,
Oh, that's fair.
But-
like you said, like you were saying, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your choice now.
Yep.
It's balls in your court. You want it?
But now I got Joe and Chris, and they're both spoiler sensitive. So
New phrase.
yeah, so I gotta find another thing. So all right, last one is from Ken C. He says, random thought I probably put way too much into writing down, but feel free to discuss. I think it's an interesting topic. Who'd be in favor of this kind of thing? Since stuff like this is so popular, or at least becoming that way, these big crossover events, I dare say more watch these than watch the ongoing shows with other flutter in and out of our life. What if, similar to how DC Comics Justice League Vintage Era used to do those annual smaller scale crisis events, the less modern grand ones where the Justice Society and Justice League would simply join up on one of their Earths, bullshit, have a little shindig, get together party with fighting some bad guy being almost relegated to the background as an afterthought, where it was more cool to see all the heroes together, having drinks together, sharing stories, maybe two Flashes having a race, hanging out, etc. If DC would start replicating that with their shows from over the years, in the form of an annual special or something, whether a movie made for TV special, bringing back various actors from whoever was available that year, anything from Burt Ward, Batman, to the vintage Batman films, to the Nolan-verse, Shazam, reverse era Superman, Lois and Clark, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like literally anybody they could afford and who wanted to participate in a yearly mashup one-shot. No universe-shattering threat, no Despero, Darkseid, none of that. Maybe just use something that messes with the hero's personalities a bit, like Starro or Eclipso.
Christmas special. Just
a yearly fun of it. My rambling aside, just a random thing I would wish would happen someday. It doesn't require a super budget nor the elaborate years of pre-planning like something like Endgame. Just something that's kind of fun and more easily digestible. I think that would be cool. I think the problem with that is that you have all these budgets. You have all these, like, you got to pay this actor, and before you know it, you've invested so much money into it that you got to get that money back. Yeah. And that's, I think they feel like their arms are tied, where it's like they have to make it a big event in order for it to bring in the money to justify the price it takes to make it in the first place.
Yeah,
you know?
People might not be interested if it's just
I'm like X-Men. when I was reading X-Men heavy in the 90s, fuck the villain. You know, it was them sitting around the pool table. You know, that used to turn my juices. Just hearing the little banter between Gambit and Wolverine, or Wolverine and Cyclops.
Yeah, that's just great.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah,
you know,
that's like a Tarantino movie where everyone just starts talking and dialogue getting into. I don't tip.
Batman is so Dark Knight. There's boats on the verge of being exploded. There's robberies. There's all sorts of stuff, but the best scene for me is a conversation between Joker and Batman in an interrogation room, and that's it. Just a simple conversation. That's the best part of that movie for me. And I do think that there is something that is lost within the genre of almost like when in Avengers 2, when they're sitting around and talking about who can lift the hammer. Mm-hmm. You know, like
I love that.
It moves with Captain America. Thor looks fucking nervous.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Like, I do think that there needs to be more of that. Absolutely. Those little character beats where
they are a team.
Yes, I do think that the genre would benefit from more of that, but I don't know how you would sell it.
Because also, like with pacing, like we're gonna stick that.
Right, and also just I hate to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
But also, like, how do you? So, like, the problem is that you put Superman and Batman together, right? Now, what threat can you possibly have that's of any meaning to them? It has to be something big. It can't be something small, because they're going to solve the small problem immediately. You know, it's like if you have Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man in the same room, the threat needs to be significant, or they're just going to mop the fucking floor with them and be on their way.
Well, I think that's his point, is that they take care of it so quick, there's a bunch of downtime.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was too easy. They thought it was something else. Maybe they go into it thinking it's something, and it's just some fucking smurf who just fucking got the codes for a second, and they just squash them. You know? And then they're like, now what? You know, we're all stuck here. They can't open the portal for 3 days, and they have to sit there and tell war stories.
Yeah.
But I think Ken C I don't know if that back in the day when Silent Live was great, with the original cast. I don't know. If
always the original cast with you.
Oh yeah. There's a skit. There's a superhero skit where they all have a surprise party for Superman, and all the superheroes are there, and it's fucking hilarious.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. John Belushi plays the Hulk, and he blows up the bathroom, and everyone's like, oh my god. And he's like, and he comes out, he's like, oh. Dude, it's fucking amazing. And you find out that Lois Lane used to date Hulk, and Superman flips the fuck out, and it's funny. And all these different superheroes in this skit, they all show, and the doorbell rings, and it's somebody else, and Dan Aykroyd's dressed as a Flash, and it's fucking funny. And but going to the Batman thing with the bomb, you know, do you remember that some days you just can't get rid of a bomb? I couldn't believe how much the Bat movie from the 70s show, or the 60s or whatever, they spliced into that last. I don't know if, I mean, to me it seems like that was an homage to that ending. Do you remember it? Batman has a bomb.
He's running around.
And he's running around, and he can't throw it off the pier because there's a bunch of baby ducks there, and he's like, fuck! And he runs in another direction, and I'm watching I texted Bobby during the movie, like, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Everywhere he fucking went, he's like, ah! And the thing's got a fuse on it, you're like, how long is that fucking fuse? Right? I didn't think of that.
Put it the fuck out.
Just lick the fucking thing. Good call, Bobby. Yeah, he's fucking running all over bananas, man. But there, you know, but there was a seriousness to it because everybody got evaporated to little powders. You remember when they were trying to put them all back
in the little jars.
Yeah. And fucking, and so watch that last movie. I'm like, these motherfuckers. I see what they did there.
You have any thoughts on this, Joe, before we wrap it up? Or?
No, because I'm not a big fan of the TV stuff anyway.
Right, yeah, me neither.
Or DC.
Oh yeah, God bless it. So
I don't hate it, but
we're gonna start doing our shout outs, and then we're gonna say goodbye. And when we say goodbye, we say an adjective and then a part of the body. So, for instance, tasty taint is one, and velvety vagina is one. And
adjectives are description.
Yes.
I can't even say description.
Yeah, a descriptive word and then a body part.
Okay.
So be ready.
Oh shit!
All right. So shout outs to the rest of the Nerve Rage team. We have Chris, who couldn't make it today. Mesco, but it failed. He didn't pop up. He disappeared today, actually. And then we have Marilyn Phil on Twitter and also helping us tremendously with the notes. We have Dante the Destroyer helping us with Facebook. We have Manny behind the scenes. Gort helping us with Force Sensitive Podcast. And shout out Raul on Instagram. Yes. Shout out to the rest of the Cool Table Network. Shadowcast Uncut, Enter the Realm, Beer and Bolters 401k, Stasis Lock. Who else is in that fucking thing? Toy Detox. Breaking the Mold, Building Up to It, Fresh Communications, and Verbally Challenged. And with that,
Flappy Labius.
Slippy hair.
Tight dick player. That's good.